Hey, all right.
Yo,
Welcome. Special episode, a
very
bonus
special.
episode, if you will. So special. The specialist of episodes. At least we hope it will be. Who knows? This definitely wasn't recorded afterwards or anything like that.
Yeah,
So,
lots of gotchas,
yeah. Oh, no, no,
tons of
please.
ownage,
Um, but yeah,
all cloud.
welcome. Bonus episode. How's your week been, whenever this is, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm not even sure what the hell. Just
This is bonus
yeah,
time.
it's
It's hard
bonus.
to
What?
remember.
Yeah, no, I caught up on some good shows and
Hell
caught a
yeah.
couple movies. So, besides that, it's been an uneventful week. I had a big victory at work, but that's about as far as I can
Nice.
say.
You finally beat up your boss?
I did.
You, fought him?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Good
yeah,
times. It's been a long time coming.
yeah,
I know you talked about, am I gonna sabotage him? But no, I'm glad that you went for the actual victory.
yeah. So
Way to
it
go.
it was a hug fight. I won.
Well, that is awesome. In all sincerity, that's really good
How about
news.
you?
It's always awesome.
What's been going on with you?
No victories. It's been kinda calm. No concerts, no people passing out on me.
Nice.
Just kinda
No pukey.
time at home with my dog. It's good times. Caught up on a bunch of shows I wish I hadn't seen, and, I'm missing a couple of, whatchamacall them, finales for the season,
Yeah,
sorry. I haven't, caught up on Ahsoka's finale or Wheel of Time yet, both of those are out, so, I guess
you could
that
probably
kind of
skip them
places this
both.
somewhere in bonus time. Unfortunately, I can't. I've heard maybe I would want to, but, I'm a completist, and, what can I say? I like hurting, and they make me
I
hurt
know.
when I watch those. Um, but yeah, I did happen to catch up on, I guess we'll, get into this, if I have the thing
What
there. This is the
kind of
thing.
shit is this? I said.
Alright.
Yeah,
So, you had mentioned that, you were able to catch a couple of shows. I guess that
good.
kinda threw Ahsoka and Wheel of Time into our regular banter, if you will. But, yeah, what shows and movie did you happen to catch or,
All right, so let's see. Let's start with the worst at the top. The Nun
Oh,
Part
okay.
the Nun Part 2.
So
Oh,
it's not as good as The Nun
Jesus.
Part 1?
Yeah, not to say the Nun Part
Wow.
1 was even good in the first place. So it was the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. It was rehashed. Yeah,
Really?
it was rehashed, and it was basically the Nun Part 1, except they put in what's that girl? I think she's black. She might be like a mixed race or something, but she's from she was in the what's the recent zombie show with Joel, and I don't know how I'm forgetting this right now. There's probably like a poster of it somewhere in here. It's a video game on HBO.
The Last of
The Last of
Us.
Us. Yeah. So she was
Yeah,
in
I
this,
can't think of that actress's name, but
and
yeah.
no, not the main girl. She was like the girlfriend or something.
Oh,
She was also in A Wrinkle in Time. Um,
I would definitely be familiar with her
yeah,
then.
she's the main
I
girl.
remember the time wrinkle. Okay, okay.
So
Alright.
she's in there also as a nun or nun trainee, and it just sucks. It just absolutely sucks. Normally, I would say it sucks. Watch it. This one, do not watch it. Even my girlfriend who loves any kind of horror, she was like, "What the fuck is this?" She's like, "This is so boring. I can't even follow it."
Really?
Yeah,
Ah, that sucks because it seems like an iconic character, like, it seems like that could fit in, like, the, what would you call that? Like, the annals of horror?
right in
The
the
characters
anals.
that are, like, trope. But, like, you got, like, Freddy, Jason. It feels like
The
that nun
nun,
could be one of
yeah.
That's characters. That's really
And
shitty.
then we found
That's a
we found
shame.
ourselves at the end of the movie that we're like, well, the nun is from The Conjuring, and I'm like, is this the same?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, the girl,
Yeah.
the nun in the nun, the actual nun, not the demon nun, is supposed to be like
Yeah.
the younger version of the woman from The Conjuring, is what I thought. But Nikki said no, and apparently I only think that because they're really sisters in real life.
Huh.
So
Huh.
the girl who plays
Okay.
whatever, Vera Maragajigi is her last name, Maragia, Vera
That sounds
Majira,
right.
Bam Margera.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Bam Margera.
Well, her sister is like 21 years younger than her, and she's played in like a whole bunch of movies and shows where they play like she plays a younger version or an older version.
Huh.
Um,
Huh.
But that's what that
Interesting.
confused me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they're not the same
Uh,
character.
so
Maybe it's her mom. I don't
if
know.
you were to rate this, does it even get a starfish?
No, no. It's I've always said I will never give nothing. It's a half a starfish. Like, don't even waste your time. You can't even walk around with half a
Okay.
starfish. It'll just fall off the side of the tank.
Well, that does actually kind of remind me of a movie that I saw.
Mm.
So I actually ended up seeing Saw X the other
Oh,
day.
geez.
I don't know if you're too into the
I
Saw
can't do it.
franchise, if you like the murder porn.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you. So I'm not gonna say that this is the greatest movie ever committed to celluloid or anything like that. It is not. Yeah, it is a Saw film though. They are back to their form. I think the last couple of Saw films, there was the Jigsaw one, and then I can't even remember. I guess that might have been a couple back, but the other one that like didn't have Jigsaw in it. Yeah, it's they kind of go back to true form, but it's interesting. It's like a prequel,
Oh
so
God.
it's 10 years later. So
Too many
like
fucking
Toby Bell
prequels.
looks, yeah. Well, I mean, it's not before everything, but it's kind of in the mix. I can't remember exactly which movie it goes in between, but yeah, so it's interesting. They brought back a whole bunch of the characters from like 1 and 2, or at least a couple of them, but they've aged significantly. So it kind of takes you out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like this is supposed to be in the year, but we're like 10 years past the last one. So I don't know. It's a little interesting. The traps are a little rudimentary, but yeah,
But are they gay? But
it's
are they gay?
interesting. Not every trap is, and it's debatable. But yeah. So if you like the Saw films, but you didn't like the last couple, you didn't think they were true to form. This one got back a little bit. So if you dig Saw, you'll probably dig this. I'd give it like 3 starfish. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's about all I can say about it.
I couldn't watch it after that that one movie where the girl has to go into like the middle of the room and it's filled with medical waste and she's like digging around in there. I'm
Yeah.
like, I just can't. I
Yeah.
can't with the needles. That was all good for me. Um, all right, you want to get on to the next one?
Please, my dog is
Did you?
barking, so I'm just gonna
That's
mute
okay.
myself, but I'm here.
Everybody's fine with that. You don't have to do that. You don't like dogs barking, and you don't belong on this fucking channel.
Okay, my bad.
Okay, so Blue Beetle.
I actually just happened to watch that last night. I'm a little bit late to the party, but I
Same.
would love to weigh in on this one as well. So yeah, why don't you take it away, and I'll ride your coattails like in real life.
All right, so 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 Nikki and I watched Blue Beetle the other night, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. There was it kind of reminded me of, if you remember that movie from the 90s. It reminded me of the Guyver. It was like a
Yes,
hybrid between the
it's almost
Guyver,
the same suit, just with the bug arms
right?
for sure. I can see the similarity.
And then did you see that Disney show? What's the one with the Egyptian god?
Oh, Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. So it's
Yeah,
like a combo of both them.
I
I
did
don't
watch
know
it.
that
Sorry.
much
Yeah.
about Blue Beetle, the character, so my apologies there. But yeah, it kind of reminded me of a combo of that. And then at the end of it, I said to my girlfriend, I'm like, what'd you think? And she's like, it was good, because she's like, but it was very Mexican. I was like, it was
Yeah.
very Mexican. Like, not that that's a bad thing, but it was there. There
No.
was. It'd be like watching Encanto or something and saying there wasn't representation. Like, it was very, very heavy.
Yeah. But this would be different because, like, Encanto at least takes you to like a setting that kind of is
Yeah,
that or whatever. I guess this is supposed to be like I don't know what you'd call it. They keep calling it the Keys, so I'm assuming it's a Florida-esque situation that's near, you know, Cuba or
sure.
whatever. But yeah, I'm not exactly certain. So I also do not. I haven't followed the original Blue Beetle that much. I do know kind of the thing, like the Ted. Now I can't think of his last name, but that character was like the original Blue Beetle. They did kind of like whatever you want to call that, rejuvenate the character, like reimagine it, or do the next generation of it, which is
Tokenized.
this. You could look at it that way.
I don't know enough
The
about
which
Blue
would be
Beetle to
the
give a
Jaime
shit.
character. But yeah, they didn't like create Jaime for this movie or anything like that. Like there are comics to like support
Right,
this and
right.
everything. So it doesn't seem like, like it's just a swap for the sake of the movie. But you're right, like, it does feel like there's elements of it that just kind of are over the top. Like, if you were to kinda, lambast a culture, it feels like you might kinda put this heavy-handed of, I don't know, things into it. It felt a little bit forced,
Yeah,
but, that being said, it wasn't,
it wasn't terrible.
I don't know, it wasn't horrible. Like you said, I wasn't like, "This movie sucks," and I
The
wasn't like,
only
"This
thing
shouldn't
that
be." It's
all
just,
right,
okay.
here's the only thing, and without spoilers or anything, but the obvious, like, I hate when they fucking do this in movies, where, like, the family gets all involved, and, like, all of a sudden, this guy's
Yeah,
abuelito is, like, fucking she's, like,
badass.
90 years old, badass, but she's gonna pick up a Gatling gun.
Well, she used to be part of the rebellion,
You could tell
sir.
in that
She fought
you could
fascists.
tell in that scene, the woman playing the actress was exhausted, that it was a fake.
Yeah.
So you're gonna
I mean, that's a
it's just
heavy
yeah,
gun.
it's but it was and then they just hop in, they're like, "Yeah, I can fly a fucking Beetle space mobile." Of
"Have you
course.
seen my truck? Of course
Yeah,
I can
that's
fly a
true.
Beetle."
But then the sister's doing
And,
it, and it's like
I love that, the button that operates the legs also operates the, "Kickstart My Heart"
which is
track
great.
from Motley Crue,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to. That's the reverse in my car actually has "Girls, Girls, Girls," but, to each their own. You can go Beetle leg with the, "Kickstart My Heart," either
The
way.
Beetle thing was cool,
Um
though. I mean, it was cool.
Yeah. No, a lot of the things in this were cool. Like you said, it reminded me kinda like the Guyver, or there was this, I think it was '90s, maybe it was early 2000s, but it was a Power Ranger ripoff called, like, Beetleborgs. Anyway, it kinda reminds me of
Yeah.
that too, where it's, like, Beetle-themed weird robot suits. Um, but I don't know, there's, like, obviously with the character and the fact of what his, I don't know, do you call it superpowers or whatever? His, symbiote that has, like, is taking care of him, has a certain amount of, like, plot armor built into it,
Yeah.
like, it will protect him from anything. He can handle any foe, anything like that. So it does kinda suck, in that regard. Like, it doesn't feel like there's any challenge for him to, like, actually grow. Just this thing is just making him amazing. He can instantly fight. It is kind of Mary Sue-esque, but that being said, the action looks pretty cool. It looks like, I don't know. I was expecting the effects to be much worse. Visually, it didn't take me out, but,
No, I mean, I
I
thought
don't
it
know.
was
That Mary Sue
I
situation
watched
thing
it
kinda is there.
2 2 hours, whenever it was, and we enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it
wasn't
wasn't
bad. Did
better than
anything,
most DC
else
movies.
stand out to you? Were there any performances that were just, I know you've already, pointed out the Abuelita, amazing performance, even though it was draining. Is there, anyone's performance that kinda stood out to you?
I thought what's his face was just really annoying. What's his name?
I'm assuming you mean, oh, wow, I almost called him the wrong name. George Lopez. I
Yeah.
almost went Mencia with that. I don't know why, but my
I don't
mind went to the other comedian.
I don't know if it's just that I found him a little bit annoying as a character, but I also it just kept bringing me back to this is Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yeah.
Between like the outfits and then him and those just his expressions, he's very expressive. It just kept bringing me out. He kept pulling me out of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not appreciate how ungrateful he was at the end. It's,
Yeah, over the
come
truck.
on, man. Come on. Yeah. I mean, spoilers, over the truck.
Yeah,
Yes.
but
But yeah, so if you were to, and, of course, Jaime is played by the, now I forget his name, but, the dude from, Cobra Kai, who plays Miguel in that show.
yeah, he was good. He
I
was
thought
pretty
he did
good.
a good performance. Yeah, I thought, like, the action looked, good. It looked like he was actually, like, doing the move. I guess I'm assuming that that's him in the suit, but, the action, looked decent, but, yeah, I don't know, would you, okay. I guess we've kinda answered everything other than, what would you rate this out of, Starfish, I
I'd
suppose?
give it like a 3 out of 5.
I think that's about where I'd put it.
Yeah,
Maybe I put it a little bit higher, but, I had kind of, again, been primed that this movie sucks and it's just gonna be over the top, and there's, like, a million taco jokes, and it's like, "Alright, the truck was named Taco," but,
yeah,
I don't know. The family thing was definitely, strong in there, but, I don't know. It didn't take me out. I liked it more than I thought I would.
yeah.
So, I'd go, like, 3.5, but
Fair.
hell yeah.
I
Alright.
got
Well,
one more on the list that
okay.
we can't walk past this one.
Okay. I'm excited.
Loki season 2, episode 1.
So I have not seen it yet.
Ah,
I'm missing 2 finales and that one. So, okay, without too many spoilers, I would love to, kinda hear your take on it.
it so far, I'm not sure what to think of it. I I'm not sure. So with just what we know from the previews, um,
Mhm. That's all I've seen.
Loki is trapped in a situation where he's bouncing back and forth between times, and also the kid from Indiana Jones is in it. So
Not Mud. Not
no, the
okay.
Asian kid.
Oh, okay, cool. Who's no longer a kid?
Yeah, like
The,
the like 65-year-old
awesome.
actor.
Okay. For a second, I was like, "You don't mean Short Round, do you? Because
Yeah,
he's
short
not a
round.
kid anymore." But, I love
I
that
don't know what
dude.
his name
That's
is,
awesome. I'm glad that he's in there.
and he
I
he plays a
yeah,
significant
like
role
we
in it.
said, low effort, so I
Um,
wish I could remember. Short Round always has a
yeah,
place in my heart, though, so,
but he's
I
good in
think we
it.
know who you're talking about.
People are saying that he stole the show and this and that, but he's good. And all right, so I've watched it like 2, maybe 3 times now, and I keep falling
Wow.
asleep. I keep falling asleep in the last 10 minutes. So it's about 43 minutes long. I've only made it 30 minutes in each time.
I think the mailman just showed up. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay, that's fine. So I don't know. So far, it's given me like a little bit of a nervous feeling that it's not going to be good.
Nervous like, oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so a thought occurred to me. Um, why even have dogs? I'm just kidding. Um, a thought occurred to me while I was watching Loki season 2, episode 1, and immediately when the episode started, it has this very like eerie sci-fi kind of like music score to the
Uh-huh.
background. It's like, and immediately I got this like sensation. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Like I got excited because that's how like I don't know. You get excited when you would hear that
Yeah.
noise. Even when you first used to hear Disney, it'd be like, "Boo," and now it's like you hear that cluck and you know something bad's coming. But um, it occurred to me that when Loki season 1 was out, I was still drinking. So
Oh, that could explain a lot.
I don't
Maybe
know.
not. I remember liking it. Like, there's certain elements of it that are really cool. Like, visually, I
Yeah,
think, like, it's fun set design and, like, just kind of the kind of 60s kinda mod, like,
yeah, it's
everything
cool.
about it. It's really fun aesthetically. I had issues with, some of the plots, but, so, I don't know, that's interesting. So do you think you might have misjudged the original one, or,
No,
is this making you
I'm worried.
reassess your She-Hulk take?
No, I was so over
Okay.
She-Hulk. Um, no,
I couldn't be.
I'm just not sure because I did watch it a lot because I'd put it on and I'd never make it through because I was drinking a lot, and it used to just put it on all the time. I just keep it on like um, every night going to bed. I turn it on, and for the whole week. And so I'm wondering, maybe it wasn't the booze. Maybe I was just falling asleep naturally by watching this show because it's boring.
Huh.
So, but I don't
Ooh,
know.
I didn't find the first season boring necessarily. It just kinda seemed like it created a whole bunch of plot holes and, like, weird inconsistencies, so I'm interested to see how they kinda rectify that or if they're going to
I think
address some of it. I don't know.
when it comes to the Disney Marvel shows, we all are just going to have to accept that it it's something separate, just something separate.
Mm,
Just take it for what it is.
fair
It's not
enough.
part of it, you know,
I could see that.
based on
Except
a
for
true
She-Hulk.
story.
She-Hulk is, She-Hulk is canon.
Shulk.
Uh, I get that. Maybe that is the way that I should look
If
at
you
it.
want to enjoy
Out of
it,
curiosity, any Kang in this one? Did they just kinda, like, take out Jonathan Majors completely? Or,
no, there's some voiceovers and statues, but
okay,
I have not seen yet to see his face.
fair
So that's
enough.
the only
I'd just be
spoiler.
interested to
Unless
know,
he
like,
popped up in that last
how
10
they do.
minutes. I don't know.
Oh, that's true. I forgot, technically,
Yeah.
this isn't
I
a,
can't rate it
full
really.
review. Okay.
I have to wait.
Well, okay. Well,
But
I'm interested, and I,
if you're a
should be
fan,
caught
though,
up
if
by
you were a
the,
fan of Loki season 1 like myself, or if you're just curious to maybe give it a fair shake, obviously tune in and check it out. We'll talk a little more in depth at a later time when I have a better feel on what's going on in this season. 'Cause it's been a while since the last one. Last one was 2021.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would need a little refresher on it. I think I forgot some of the threads that are going on. I just remember Lady Loki is kind of in charge.
Sylvie.
It's Sylvie. Thank you. I was like, I want to call her LV, but that's not right.
No, it's
Apparently,
Sylvie.
Sylvie.
I love
Yes.
Sylvie.
Yeah, I have nothing against
It
her.
might be the
or anything
accent,
like that.
Kind of does it
Yeah,
for me.
accents are kind of awesome. Yeah, you've mentioned that a lot about Pierce Brosnan.
Okay, he's a guy. He's a thinker. He's an
I've
intellectual.
been reliably informed that the personal is political and everything's politics. So,
You know, it's okay if you degrade me, it's okay if you open the house, it's okay all of these things. I will be okay all this. Just somebody please marry me. You know, it's kind of
You like my large breasts, but you know what it's like to live with them.
Rather than you can beat me into submission. It's okay. I'll still love you, Daddy. I mean, I think
The first thing my chat says is, well, we know where the goatee is.
fuck you. Having us off.
I'll see you lesbians later.
That's right. The best day of the week is now Thursdays, with every Thursday having a new Think on That Darn Kid's channel. Now, what is a thinker, you may ask? Well, we're a diverse group of open-minded individuals who like to explore ideas and opinions. Feel free to explore the back catalogs. There's a bunch of different thinks on there, from medical assistance in death, to fathers, to kink, to male loneliness, to even more abstract topics, like why are words? We have a very diverse group of thinkers joining us from all around the world. So please, join us for a think. And hey, there may even be a diagram involved. Hey, okay. Yeah, that was awkward.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good opening.
Thanks.
Fucking
I
perfect.
appreciate that. All right, well, welcome. So we're joined today by Sipo, Charles from WILIscredia. This is really awesome, man. This is something that I did not anticipate happening. And then, you're a much bigger man than us. You actually made yourself vulnerable, reached out to us, and there was actually some sort of like communication for him. So this is really awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you for allowing this to happen. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
We're really honored to have you, sir.
No, thank you. Thank you for being open to the situation. And like you said, 2 weeks ago, I would have completely thought this was just the furthest thing from happening.
Same.
Us too. We definitely wouldn't have anticipated this, and we would have assumed this was.
I agree.
Yeah, we probably would have assumed this was like some sort of trap or something. Probably would have gotten into some weird paranoia. But just the way that you kind of reached out to us and did make yourself vulnerable. It's like, wait, this dude's being honest.
Yeah.
Are we? And you did reference the title of our show, and that made us take a deep look at ourselves and realize that we weren't necessarily being honest with ourselves, or at least we weren't seeing ourselves.
And
honestly.
we're still not.
So we owe you. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're still not sure why you sent 17 pictures of your ass. We're not exactly clear why that was added, but I guess just to
we
entice us
appreciate it.
further.
But
and now I'm all in.
Yeah, I mean that was the cherry on the cake.
That was it. That sold me. But we're glad you're here.
I'm happy to be here. Like I said, before I did like my reaction thing that I thought was going to be a hurrah thing for a certain group, but before I did that, like I watched an episode where you guys just the structure felt familiar. Everything about it felt familiar. It was like
that's weird because we took a long time thinking about that, and we originated this thing. So thank you for noticing.
Well, it was just like
our dedication.
Two dudes talking about their week things they watched, and it just wasn't like it didn't feel very Klansman-y at all. Despite,
no, that's a separate stream. That's my channel.
Despite popular opinion.
There have been other opinions on what we're doing. So we appreciate that.
But
you were able to
the
see
second that Patrick said something that I recognized from all of the therapy and things that I've been through about just find three positive things through the day. I was like, shit, common ground. I know that no matter what the hell we think otherwise, there's common ground. Maybe there's a shot at something here.
Yeah. And in a toxic fucking environment like we're in too, it's more likely lately that we're all looking for something negative, like what this motherfucker say, or what this studio put out this time,
Oh, sure, it's probably the opposite. 3 negative things.
Yeah, and we're looking
3 things that Brie Larson did that I hate today.
Yeah, and I'm a new fan of Brie.
Which, Patrick has a recently found appreciation for her, and I still need to look into that. I haven't seen a free. Now I can't remember the other word in that, but the Free Fire, the shootout one with her. That one sounds really cool. I'm gonna check it out, man. I didn't hate her performance in, like I said, The Room. So I'm
She's
not a
really
Brie Larson
talented
hater. I just I'm not as much of a fangirl as you
She's
are.
just-
Fanboy.
She's just a
excuse me.
rigid bitch, but she's talented as fuck. I mean,
She
what do you
plays a
want?
good rigid bitch too.
Yeah,
Not
in
bad,
everything she's in.
Yeah.
You know, that's like snarky, kind of bitchy, like rude
Yeah.
cunt.
The problem was she wore it in Captain Marvel, and it's not as easy to pull that off if you're not Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
And then she had baggage going into it, so it was like, oh,
Yeah, I know the interviews didn't
Yeah.
exactly help
Yeah.
some of her
this
responses to it.
arrogant bitch knows who she is.
Yeah, but it was like front loaded with everybody ready to fucking be pissed off
Oh,
at that
sure.
girl.
Oh, sure.
I don't know. Like maybe I think part of it might have honestly been this whole thing with you reaching out that opened my eyes to Brie Larson because I was like
she owes you a thanks
no,
too.
my girlfriend Nikki put on that Glass Castle movie, and I'm like, fucking great, like another movie my girlfriend's put on that I'm gonna sit through. But like 90% of the time, I end up loving the movies that she picks. But this one sucked me right in, and I'm like, holy shit, man, Brie Larson. And then I started thinking about the other Brie Larson movies I saw, and I'm like, they're all fucking good except Captain Marvel wasn't that good. You know, it kind of sucked.
Meh.
But she didn't necessarily suck in it.
Yeah. Yeah. She didn't write it. She didn't direct it. Yeah.
And she had some like funny spots. Like I thought it was funny, like her like, you know, little shitty side look attitudes. But like just the like the situations they put her in, like, you know, like, all right, go, this guy like flirted with you, so obviously steal his fucking motorcycle, you know, or like
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a cool reference to, you know, like the Terminator, but
right,
yeah,
I get
but
it.
I'm
just saying.
Anyway.
Yeah, I digress.
But you've helped us kind of open our eyes. We were viewing things kind of narrowly, so thank you,
thank
sir.
you for tagging me. I guess otherwise none of this would have been happening.
Yeah, what a concept that is.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you know when I'm talking about you.
Well, kind of speaking of concepts, and thank you for kind of watching a couple of our last episodes to kind of see what we were talking about.
The ranking,
but there are a couple concepts,
despite the comedy behind it.
Yeah,
we may have to re-rank. Gordy's still gonna get number one.
I think we might not have been super fair, but yeah. You know, if we had done it like tier list, you know, there doesn't have to only be one.
Yeah.
You know, Gordy doesn't have to be the only one out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think we were not being fair necessarily to everyone on there. But
Cold War.
But some of those concepts. Oh, and yeah, I was a real ass about the whole professional thing as well with the super gatekeeping.
It's fine. I get kept a corpse.
You are a professional.
Yeah.
You do have bona fides in comedy, and you know, that's really awesome. We don't. We are just fans of it. But we did kind of touch on a few subjects that I think it would be awesome to kind of get your opinion on, seeing as how you know, you are, I would say, an expert in the field. You've at least done this thing professionally, and we have not. So
use your 30 seconds wisely. Just remember that.
I'm going to try to. I don't know if I've ever done that before, so it's new to me. But yeah, I guess that first thing, the punching down. Do you have a stance on kind of punching up and punching down in comedy? As you know, a comedian who's definitely experienced a time where it didn't seem like it was so focused on that to kind of what people are saying now. Not necessarily comedians, but sorry.
Punching down, like it really, like I kind of say this about everything. It's really a case by case basis. Somebody brought up roasting, and I hate the fact that the term roast has been appropriated by modern culture, because roast used to be like a Friars Club thing. That term was a play on the word.
And it used to be you roast the ones you love.
Right.
But,
so it was like you laid into them, and then you told them how much you loved them. So. You know, it was a way of, you know, people within the industry just saying, hey, you did something, congratulations, but first, what's the deal with that nose on you? You know, it had some sort of different meaning, whereas today it's just like you got roasted. You know, it's the same thing as getting owned now.
Yeah, that my kids say that shit all the time. It's so annoying. Roasted, bro. You.
There were comedians back then,
like,
you know, like a Don Rickles, or like I guess maybe today like a Jeff Ross. They kind of consider them like roast comedians, but it's kind of that like insult comment.
Jezelnik is fucking sharp with that shit
for sure, and dark. But I don't know. Do you view that the same as roast comedy, or I don't know? Does roasting have to be like in that one specific thing where you're,
Punching down though,
kind of all eyes are on
it
you?
it really depends. Like, what is the scenario? Like, Chris
Mhm.
Rock talking like about me, I would consider that punching down, but society would consider that, fair game. Where I've had no sort of financial advantage, or as far as our situation's concerned,
Mhm.
he's in a much better situation than I am. So I think
For
case by
sure.
case basis plays into it. And if the other party is a willing participant in the down punching, then what is the problem?
Yeah, I guess it. Fair enough. I don't know if I've ever heard that actually answered. Is
I'm
kind
not
of the
an
thing. It's
authority,
just
mind you. I'm just yeah.
hypothetically.
Well,
Yeah.
I just wish I was paying attention and zoned out.
but like,
Are you guys getting robot voice at all?
no.
No.
All right, then it's
Are
just on
you?
my audio. Okay, then we're fine. If you guys
Oh
aren't
no.
hearing it, then it's fine because I'm hearing it from both of you. But if you're not hearing it from me and you're not hearing it from other, then it's just my
Oh, I have
earpiece.
Chat GPT loading for my ansers, so that's probably
Oh, all right.
Oh, that could be the robot noise.
Okay, fine. It's continue because I knew that was too smart. I figured something was up. I fucking knew it. We caught him. Got him.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's just running all of my RAM right now. The answering AI. That I have.
Perfect. I'm sorry. I
Well,
didn't mean to
I'm
derail.
jealous.
I didn't mean to derail. Go,
My computer won't handle that.
go on with the
No,
intelligent
derail away,
conversation,
sir.
please.
Well, so I understand what you're saying, that like it would be, situational, and it would be kind of I don't know, subjective, I guess. It really would depend on the actual joke too, because
Right.
I don't know. I respect that. It just
And
I
and it
don't know.
depends on
It
the
feels like the
setting.
argument is
I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you
Mhm.
off. I think
Oh, yeah. I think we get the slight delay. It's all good. Please go.
I think it depends on the setting too. Like, if it's in a comedy club, you're in a comedy club.
Mhm.
Like, what
Yeah.
what do you expect to happen there? Yeah, you may not
Mhm.
agree with things, but people getting upset over something that really doesn't involve them is kind of frustrating. Where it's just like, how do the participants feel?
Yeah.
That's the important question, I would think.
And then it implies that they can't speak on their own
Yeah.
behalf. Or like,
Yes.
and it's almost like a double insult. Like if you make it like, I can't remember who had said it though. We were covering somebody and we were talking about we were actually talking about the Little Mermaid and them doing the black actress and people getting upset about it. And this person said that like without that, what do they have? And it's like fucking like lots, like a whole shitload. It's just
Yeah.
it's not exactly the same. But what I'm saying is like I don't like when people take up for another person's cause because it's like it's not that you shouldn't support other people, but like if they're not complaining, then what the fuck are you talking about?
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, I did kind of get that same insinuation from Daniela, the comedy screenwriting and punch-up teacher.
Mm.
She was saying in that one particular situation, it would have been Will Smith. Sorry, excuse me, Chris Rock punching down on Will Smith's. Sorry, actually on Jada's hair, because she has at least 3 intersectional points. She didn't justify Will Smith slapping him, like that should have not happened,
Mhm.
but apparently the joke never should have happened either, because not only is she a woman of color, but she's also a woman, and then she has a medical issue. So because of those 3 points on the like intersectionality chart, that would make it punching
I
down, where it's like
I have 3 counter
I,
questions to that. Did
Mhm.
Chris Rock know that Jada
I
Pinkett
think the
was
That's a good
assumption is that
point.
he was. I think the assumption is that he did or he should have. Because isn't she an advocate for that though? I mean, I'm not like defending anybody's actions, but
I
I thought she was.
don't know if she was at the time.
I thought she was.
Okay. So G.I. Jane, if you wanna get, like,
Mhm.
real deep with it and look at it from somebody
Mhm.
who's, 2 months after the fact, gonna dissect one situation, G.I. Jane
Yeah,
is
yeah.
a story about a woman who, succeeds in a man's world. So, if anything, that
Yeah.
might be a compliment, I would assume. Saying G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. And he opened with "Love Ya," which is, that's
Yeah.
Mm.
kinda contrary to whatever the fuck the narrative is. And what were her 3 points?
Sorry. So the illness,
Yeah.
sorry, and
Woman.
also black women's hair is traditionally been a point of oppression as
Yeah.
well. So medical issue, hair, skin color, and then
Yeah,
sex.
so they're both people of color. So wash. Sorry,
Mhm.
that's sideways.
Oh yeah.
Seems like it should.
As she mentioned, Chris Rock did a documentary on hair. So I would assume
Mm.
So we should have known better.
well, if anything,
That was her
yeah,
point. Sorry.
right. No, you're right.
Snarky,
You're
but-
right. But if anything, he knows. So like, you should trust that he's just making light of something. Somebody who made light, Robert Schimmel. If you're not familiar with that,
Ooh, I loved Schimmel.
Robert,
That was tragic, but
Oh,
that dude was hilarious.
dude was cursed. Survived cancer,
For sure.
died in a car accident. Like
Car wreck. That's
insane.
horrible.
He joked about his chemo. Like,
Mhm.
everything should be laughed at, because if you put something above comedy, it gives it more power. And I don't know the situation with how well they knew each other. They sat in the front, which anybody who's been to a comedy club knows you don't sit in the front. That's bad.
Yeah. You're
And
kind of make yourself a target in a way,
and
or a possibility.
And the thing about Will Smith is, and perhaps this leads into why he did the slap and not a punch, was during the MTV Movie Awards in the 90s, him and Jim Carrey would constantly do this, like, Kanye
Yeah,
Taylor
I
Swift
had
thing.
forgot about that.
They did what?
I actually
What'd they
just
do
looked
together?
at that, and
They would constantly, like, interrupt each other, it was strange. It was strange. I don't know if you're able to find footage of it, but it was an ongoing thing. Like every year, Will Smith and Jim Carrey, one of them would win for something, and one of them would like interrupt, or they'd kiss each other, or like just.
Oh
was
yeah,
all
I do
performative.
remember that now. I do remember that. Okay.
It was so performative, and maybe
Yeah.
Will Smith forgot that he was at the Oscars and just decided to be performative.
Act a fool.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to, like, if you're gonna get deep down and talk about, like, she's a woman, she suffered this. Joe Sixpack, who turns on the Oscars, sees, oh, she shaved her head.
Yeah.
And that's what Chris Rock is playing to, is the audience. And the joke isn't that bad. It really
Now,
isn't that bad.
And we're
That's what I was
we're
gonna
also
ask
not
you.
talking about like
Not-
some delicate flower. We're talking about Jada fucking Pinkett Smith. This girl-
Well,
she's a fucking badass individual. She's been in fucking amazing movies. She's a great actress.
She was in a metal band.
yeah, I've heard comparisons to G.I. Jane.
And I mean, she seems like a force to be reckoned with as well. Like she seems like the individual you just don't fuck with, She doesn't strike me as
Can
somebody.
I ask you, as a comedian, do you think that was an improvisational joke, or do you think that was something that was like scripted? It kind of seemed like it was off the top, but I wouldn't know with a show like that. Like, does every line have to be like approved or so? I don't know if you'd know.
That's
the word show.
I don't know. That's a very interesting question. Because I know they do practice. They certainly do rehearsals.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
improv is an
I'm sorry to put you on the spot
no,
with that.
If it's
And then,
improv,
like, as a
Professional,
comedian,
my ass.
yeah, you should know
Get
this.
the
I
fuck
haven't
out of
been
here,
to the
Charles.
Oscars yet. I can't answer that.
Fucking brought you here for a reason.
Okay, so as a comedian,
Jesus.
As a
if you
comedian.
were to like, so if you were to see a woman with a shaved head,
Yeah.
not like completely bald, like there's a little bit of fuzz on there. What kind of joke would you go to? Like, does that seem like a somewhat safe one compared to like saying something like the light is shining off of there, or something that would be like offensive, that like you've definitely heard like jokes like that attacking bald men. I don't know, this doesn't feel like it's on that same level, right?
The other issue is, if you look at Jada Pinkett over time, she's had very short hair in her past. So
for sure.
it's not like anybody who doesn't know what her situation isn't really surprised by this hairdo that she has, or lack of hairdo. Apologies. So
Yeah.
I remember her in Scream 2 with a very, very short hairstyle. So
Yeah.
it doesn't seem completely out of the ordinary for us. And again, if you're gonna like get like super deep with dissecting a throwaway joke, G.I. Jane is,
Mhm.
is a movie about somebody who has to shave their head to join the army and is in a man's world and succeeds. So what?
Yeah.
Where's the issue?
Well,
It's just
apparently it's not with the joke. It was just with you can't make a joke
Yeah.
because of
keep my
these certain
keep my wife's name out your mouth.
factors.
Yeah,
And also, you're not supposed to talk about her.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know.
Well, the problem was there were certainly other jokes he could have gone to, especially considering how Will and Jada were. You know, it's unfortunate that we know these people's personal lives, but we do.
Well, and that was the thing. Like, I kind of cut it out of that video, but that Daniela lady was making a point that like there was a previous joke in the by I can't remember who did it, but they joked about Will and Jada's open relation or the status of their relationship, and she was saying that that's perfectly fine, but because he made a joke about the hair, it's a medical condition, so he attacked her medical condition. I don't know, like as a comedian, like would you think that like joking about someone's relationship as opposed to like the way they look, like which one do you think would be touchier subject?
I I don't know. They're separated now, right?
I
Aren't they?
I don't know. I honestly I'd heard like kind of open, but I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I mean, at the time they were clearly.
But you know
together.
what I mean? Like to me, that feels like super touchy ground. Where if I like mock somebody's hair, it's like oh okay.
For,
I don't know. I would think it would be more personal, but she was arguing the opposite. It's like
yeah,
really? I thought I'd left that part in, but I did cut that
I
out of my 5-minute clip of that.
I think the fact that Will Smith acted the way he did, you could just what I perceived was there's way more going on in that relationship than a fucking GI Jane joke. I apologize. Are you do you
I think
do you
so.
curse on?
Oh no, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We fucking curse.
Sorry
Ow.
about that. I'm some Long Island savage. Don't mind me.
But yeah, I agree. There's definitely more going on there than
Yeah,
just that joke.
because that's and then he won an Oscar a couple hours later. Like
Yeah.
It's weird.
you're there for an Oscar. You're being celebrated. There's more to it that I would certainly feel, especially when they have a camera on Will Smith. I've heard that it was staged. I mean, how did the camera guy know to have a close up on Will Smith at that moment? Is a little, I don't know. It seems interesting, but I don't want to
Deliberate.
feed. Yeah, I don't want to feed conspiracy theories. But
This is the place to do it.
Yeah.
Just fucking let it all out. We just talk shit here.
but
I
yeah,
wasn't
why
sure if you
slap?
knew like award shows like if that would all have to be scripted because they definitely had the cameras right there.
There's
and,
scripts.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not the first peculiar thing to happen at an award show, though. I mean, there's always some weird shit.
Well, they
of, like,
they
sure.
fucked up the best picture a couple of years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the strangest thing I've ever.
I remember that. That was kind of hilarious. But I guess they did that at like a beauty contest too. So I guess it could happen.
They do rehearsals, so cameramen know where to be for certain things. But again, if Will Smith were that bothered, why a slap? Why something that is
should have shot.
audible? Should have.
And if you're just sending like a point, why not the backhand? I don't know. It just seems.
Yeah, there's so
Big
many
slap.
there's so many things that could have happened where it's like a slap. What? Make sure you drop your glove first.
Yeah. I know you
Challenge you to a duel.
Well,
Yeah,
that was
my
awesome.
wife's
Kind of
good
getting your
name, so
opinion
you're
on that
done.
whole thing. So sorry. I think I kind of veered us away from the whole like punching down thing.
But it
kind of to get back to. Well, I mean, I guess this relates, but yeah, I thought they were interesting interpretations of the concept based on this or this situation based on that concept. It wasn't exactly how I would see that concept applied, but
right.
yeah.
The fact that she had to resort to, and it's a woman, and it's like, all right, now you're just grasping at straws because what, men can't joke about women? What?
It's wiping out half the people we can joke
Well,
about.
Yeah, what Rodney Dangerfield would not exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was wondering about, like a perceived insult comic. So, like a Don Rickles or whatever. So she was kind of saying that, like, essentially roast jokes or punching down should only exist in roast comedy. I don't know. Would you? I don't know. Do you think any comedian would get behind that whole thing of like, essentially that would mean insult comics shouldn't exist?
Yeah, no, I don't
But
think any
it's-
comedian would get behind what she's saying. And the fact that she teaches
Mhm.
people to add jokes to screenplays and television series is kind of disheartening. It really is disheartening.
Yeah.
As somebody who's helped, not many. I've been hired by 5 people. One woman who I saw in person. One of the 5 times I've performed since my episode. She was an extremely attractive female, and she was talking basically in the same way that I was about my luck with women, and I
Tell me
can't
more.
get dates. And she wasn't getting laughs. And I told her, you have to realize that if you just say, does anybody want to go on a blind date with me? At least 30,
Yeah.
maybe 40% of that audience will take you out. You are too attractive to do the, oh, I have shitty luck. You can't do that. You're
Yeah.
too attractive for
Even
that.
if they're funny, it's gonna read
Yeah.
odd. Like, I don't know.
buying it.
I don't know that I'd buy it. It would just come off.
Yeah,
fake.
you can't, like, if you're going to do an act, you can't pull off pathetic if you look like that. Like you're you, as far as looks are concerned, you're born on third base. So you have to kind of alter the way that either, if you want to embrace your dating life, you've got to play into the fact that you're so attractive and be
Hear that,
arrogant.
Patrick?
Yeah.
yeah, just let that dick flow, man.
No, you know who's a good? I can't think of her name. You guys will probably know it ahead of me. She's like she's a super hot comedian girl. She got brown hair, but she does a little bit of like raw comedy.
That's Dane Cook you're thinking
Dane
of.
Cook, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think
Sweet
you're just thinking
ass.
volume, not comedy.
Oh God, what's her name?
Again, Dane
I
Cook.
can't think of the girl's name, but she owns it. She owns that she's like fucking stoned up. And
Is it Whitney Cummings?
yeah, I think so. I think that's it.
I was gonna
She
say
had
there's like 3 of them that I'm thinking
Yeah.
of, but 2 of them are
One of her
blonde, so I'm
specials, she
guessing
was
Whitney.
pregnant. It's creeped me out.
Oh,
That's Whitney.
is it
Yeah.
Whitney? I was going
Was-
to
I think so.
Eliza
Like an
Schlesinger.
an
would have
air-
been the other
So
one.
she was the other one that
Yeah,
I was
her too.
thinking, like Eliza.
She's hot too.
So the other one that I was thinking was Eliza Schlesinger, but the other one is kind of Nikki Glazer, kind of gets lumped in that
Oh,
same
sure.
thing.
Which
but,
one's the one that's
not
like?
sure.
I think it's Nikki Glazer, the one that's like very neurotic and constantly like everything is like self doubt, like plays like the I'm hot but I don't know I'm hot joke kind of cards. Is it Nikki Glazer?
I didn't get that from Nikki Glazer. I think she just plays the kind of hot, dirty card.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you have to lean into it. Like you have to realize what people see, and like what I'm gonna annoy some people that I've defected from, but we all have prejudices. We all, right off
sure.
the bat, you see somebody, whatever your thoughts are, you've come to some conclusion what you think about that person. It's just human nature. And that's, you have to embrace that in comedy. Like you're standing up there, people are forced to look at you. You have the microphone, everybody's facing you. So they're coming to some sort of something at least about your look. So if you're not embracing it and talking about your ears stick out and they're handlebars for gay folk, then, I don't know why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, for sure. Like, you are a visual. I guess there are some people who could just be voices, like an old-timey radio play or something like that. But yeah, with stand-up, it's not like we're doing this on Zoom. That didn't exactly work out. So, yeah, you kind of have to be in front of people.
Well, yeah.
I guess you could always go to like the puppet thing or something. Oh, I guess kind of a weird transition. What do you think about like puppet acts as far as like comedy
They're
goes?
sneaky. They're sneaky because to not take anything away from a comedy audience, but you can say whatever you want if you say it through the puppet's mouth.
For sure. And that's kind of why like whatever you want to call it, like group acts or whatever, are kind of fun because, then you can still say whatever, but as long as you got like kind of the opposing opinion, like is that really what you're putting out there?
You said puppets?
Yeah, like puppet comedy.
Like,
but
like
you could do the same
Triumph?
thing like
Jeff Dunham.
yeah, So yeah, I was
Jeff
thinking more
Dunham.
like Jeff Dunham because then you can be like the voice of reason. It's like, whoa,
Yeah,
what are you talking
hey.
about? Like, whoa, that's
I
offensive.
get
Why
very
would you do
uncomfortable
that?
around puppets.
Uh,
I don't like
Me too. But I was just wondering,
racist
like,
against
as a
puppets.
comedian, like, do you view that as kind of like a prop act, or is
Yes.
it a different level?
Yes, and it's
Okay.
this is like personal opinion, not really as far as
For sure. I mean,
comedy
like,
as a whole.
obviously, ask Jeff Dunham, it's going to be a different
Yeah,
answer, I'm sure. But,
you're cheating. You're saying things that I just can't say out there, and you're saying, "Oh, that's a bad puppet. How dare you say those things?" And the audience is like, "Yeah, that puppet's pretty. He's rude." And it's just not. They don't think, "Oh, Jeff Dunham is actually voicing that puppet, and he wrote everything for everybody." And
But wait, I'm gonna challenge
but wait,
this. But wait, there's less.
there's more. Oh,
Like what about like sketch comedy shows then? Wouldn't that be a similar type of thing? Because you're not necessarily, it's not, like Jim Carrey coming out on Living Color or like whoever the fuck's on Saturday Night Live now.
yeah,
They're a character. It's not them.
well, sure. Unfortunately, not everybody understands that people are
I know.
doing characters. But like Gray said, if you have like a straight man, so to speak, not sexually speaking.
Gray is a straight man.
Well, if you have like
Allegedly.
somebody,
supposedly.
yeah, if you have somebody like out there,
We're both fun for it.
somebody out there just doing crazy shit, and you have the straight man to be the voice of reason or be the voice of the audience who's affected by it, you're okay. And it's not
Yeah,
fair, but
you're
it's
not
the way
really
it is.
making that
Yeah.
stance. You're the voice of reason.
Makes sense. God damn.
That is kind of interesting.
You'd be
So
surprised
you were saying it is kind
sometimes
of like
who
cheating.
writes what. Like the guy who's the voice
Yeah.
of reason writes the horrible bit
Yeah.
for the other person.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, like that's with ventriloquists, like obviously it's just one person, so they're obviously doing that. But yeah, I wouldn't doubt that with a straight man. So you're saying that would be kind of a cheat with the puppet. So would like a 2-man act where you do have like a straight man and the person going out, would you consider that like a cheat too? Is the most honest to just be like one man, one mic, or one person, one mic?
Well, I've done things in the past, and it was far too early. It was before I was even paid. Somebody wanted to save money on comedians, and they'd let me MC for free. And it was stage time. I would just take it, and the learning experience was just beyond anything I could have paid for. But he had this like next level thing that he was doing, like where he had this puppet, but it was like green screen thing, and so there was a television next to the stage. Granted, this is 20 plus years ago at this point. So seeing a puppet or a cartoon that's answering questions in real time was so interesting. And like, I didn't know what to do with it. And I didn't want to be the straight man. And I basically had to, because like the cartoon on the show would talk about, hey, the broad in the front row is drinking too much. Why is she wearing that red shirt? And they're like, the cartoon sees me.
What?
That's pretty funny.
That is awesome.
It was.
Like, even now, I think that would be kind of.
Yeah.
I think that would still be
Especially in,
interesting.
Like,
It is
lobby everywhere.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's just like I was still learning everything. I didn't have a solid 3, let alone 10. So for me to take on this role of something that, excuse me, like I was a big time Carlin fan, and when I started doing comedy, I was a teenager. And I thought like I was a badass. I'll do what Carlin does. And I would walk out there and I would say, you know what sucks about having a big dick? And like that was my opener. And like people were just like, what the fuck's going on with this kid? Like it was the word, like I was trying so hard to be edgy. And it took me a very long time. Thank God they were I mean, they were saving money. So whatever. I mean,
thin line between edgy and cringy.
Yeah, and I didn't realize
True.
that, like, you need to be established. The audience needs to know that you're George Carlin before you can say something, or like Sam Kinison or something like that. You can't just roll out there as some 17-year-old kid. Do you know what sucks about having a big dick? No, I'm asking. And it just starts off the relationship very, very unfortunately. So like I viewed myself as edgy, but like I had to play the straight man to this cartoon, and it was like I don't have material that I can be. Well, that's a very nice woman there. She paid to be here. How dare you?
What do you mean, Roscoe?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. Most of us really would cringe at anything that we did as teenagers. I
Yeah.
unfortunately did stand up, and like I have to watch me as a teenager, doing stand up and learning the ropes and stuff, and it's like, oh, you asshole! I fucking hate you. I hate you.
Yeah, it's like anything though. I
I
mean,
can
I don't
only
even like looking at
imagine,
pictures of myself when I was
Mm.
younger.
Yeah.
Like, oh Jesus.
So I did a bunch of music. It is so cringy
Yeah.
to like listen back to that. It's like, really? I thought that was like, like why would I write lyrics? Like anyway, it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever stumble across some of your old poetry? Like,
Oh,
So that's essentially what it was, but it was set to music. And it's like, really? Like, oh my god. Yeah.
bring an acoustic guitar to the park or whatever. Or ugh.
your eyes are like sunset.
Yeah.
Lips, cherry blossom.
Oh, we're at a campfire. I've got a song for this.
Yeah.
Oh, please no.
Well, that would be like the cool thing. Mine was screaming,
Oh.
so it was pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah.
And that didn't
it's
work
even
out?
worse. No,
Did not
surprisingly,
get the effect you thought it would?
that was kind of a flash in the pan, so to speak. Yeah, it turns out not a lot of legs on that genre.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't get it. It would have got me.
yeah, I guess he
You
was dead.
were,
I don't know.
playing to the wrong crowd.
Not at the time, but yeah, definitely in the long run. So sorry to get back to comedy just a little
Yeah,
bit.
where did you start?
so
I
you're-
apologize. I took us on a really weird journey.
Oh,
A straight man.
I don't know. Somehow we got to I'm cringe, and I was definitely cringy as a teenager.
About having to be
okay.
a straight man writing.
Oh.
Is that what?
Yes. So I was gonna ask kind of a tangent off of that. So you had mentioned that you kind of see like a little bit of the puppet thing is kind of a cheat code or kind of I don't know, an easy way of doing
Yeah,
that.
they get a break.
Would you see
If I said so, essentially, if I use the same material, me standing up as puppet, as
Mhm.
wooden man who looks angry, and I don't have a straight man, so to speak, to just be the voice of the audience, I get oohs and ahs and things like that. That to me is not fair. You should know that I'm,
Mm.
I don't have a wedding ring. I'm married. Me having trouble with women, that whole bit. I've been married more for more time during my stand-up career than not. So like it's a persona, which might be a nice segue to the other thing, but
Mm.
it's not fair. It's not
Yeah.
fair that they take you seriously on these things. But the puppet can say, the N-word because it's just a stupid puppet.
character.
Well, I do want to put a pin in the persona thing because I do want to get to that next. But okay, to make you hated by all types of comedians. So would you say like prop comedians are also like some sort of like
Well,
cheat code, or they have it easy?
They're considered hack, and that's really unfortunate. I mean, Carrot Top, he does have some good material. Unfortunately, it's like really just dropped between a bunch of prop material. Like he had a bit that I remember just had me in tears. It was just this one line that the lead newswoman on 2020 wears glasses. Like it's just like it's funny because 2020 like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
nothing deep, it's nothing whatever, but like he
No.
just like dropped it in there between all of the a pratfall is hack. Like there are things that people laugh at
Yeah.
that are just shortcuts, and prop comedy is that. Like a fart joke is a shortcut. George Carlin, if you watch his HBO documentary, when he would like rail about government and people dying, he would throw in this random fart joke or like picking a wedgie out of your pants
Yeah.
just to kind of get the audience, hey, listen, it's still a comedy show, but
Yeah, he's still paying attention.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Do you view Gallagher the same way, or is Gallagher different?
Well, he's a prop comic. I mean, I mean,
He seems like he was more than that to me, but I'm not looking to prime you, but I mean,
no,
like, like
I'm willing to accept an alternate.
the like words or whatever bit. I can't remember exactly what you'd call that one, but he had like the flip cards where it would kind of go through like, it was kind of poking fun at English and like the weird pronunciation of words and
Sure,
stuff.
sure.
I
I'm
don't
a
know. He had
fan of
some
that.
fun associations, but I guess it's still a prop. But yeah,
It's weird because his brother did
Yeah.
his bit.
yeah.
Fucking
Once you
tragic
get into the whole
story.
Gallagher
Gallagher
thing, it is
too? Like
weird.
that
Gallagher
is
too.
weird.
Okay, but could you see selling your act to somebody else if they bill themselves as like Charles II or something? Like,
I mean,
I don't know. It might be nice to get like a cut of it if you're franchising your bit.
Yeah,
But
You could be
well,
like
I don't
if you
know.
got like 2 more, you could have C2 and then C3 PO.
PO, yeah.
Yeah, that would be kind of
Well,
good.
part of writing and like what that woman teaches is punch up where you don't get credit. You
Mhm.
use, I mean,
Yeah.
I've sold material that I've used where they've been essentially said, I don't know how much I can legally say. They've essentially said, we like this bit. We're going to use something off of it and inspired by it. Here's money.
That makes
Please
sense.
sign this NDA. And I don't get any credit for it. They're at least acknowledging, hey, you can't sue us, sign this paperwork, but we're going to use that. And that I think is the closest thing I can say about just having material that you sell while not taking full credit. It's odd because comedy.
So let's say you sold let's say you sold a joke basically
Mhm.
or whatever, and then you sell the joke, you get paid for it, you sign the NDA, and then like later down the road you decide you want to incorporate that joke into like your stand up or whatever else. You can't do it, right?
Oh
'Cause
yeah,
now they own it. It's
no,
like
no.
copyrighted IP, or it's
If
just
it,
like a service.
it depends on the contract. I had a no compete clause where I had to not use that
Mm.
that bit for 6 months after the thing aired, and then I can use the material again. I just can't sue them and say that's my bit.
No, they took it from you. Yeah, I
But
got
they
you.
could have sued me and said, "Hey, that's something we're doing someday soon." So it was kind of weird. I
It's
couldn't.
complicated.
Yeah, I could have got sued for using my own material for a portion there.
That is weird. And then also like a lot of comedians that we would know do also use like writers and
Sure,
stuff.
sure.
Right? Like not necessarily everybody writes their own jokes. And then like every roast, they pretty much have like a whole bunch of
Mhm.
writers going beyond those, like the roast
Yeah.
jokes. It's not just all from the mind of
Of
one
course,
person.
because if you see like,
Yeah.
Caitlyn Jenner show up for a roast, you're like, "What the
Mhm.
fuck material does Caitlyn Jenner have?" Like, but there's
Yeah.
no way. Yeah, they get handed bits, and it from my understanding, especially with those Comedy Central stuff, between Ross and Jeselnik, they were big on helping the I'm just here because I'm a celebrity face. They
Yeah.
would help them with
Like
material.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah, yeah, or Mike's Situation, like, what the fuck?
Well, that situation didn't go over so well. But
It's one of my
yeah,
people.
that was an interesting
He had
one.
the confidence. I mean, shit, that's half the battle, but you lost the other half.
Well, okay, kind of to get back to that, we put a pin in the persona
Mhm.
thing. What's your opinion on? So I think you're aware of the whole Hasan Minhaj thing, his emotional truth, his Arnold Palmer of comedy, if you will, the 70% emotional
The pity
truth,
seeker.
30% fabrication. Patrick has a take that he's a pity seeker, which it's an awesome saying, and I can see where he's going with that. I don't know. I guess my question would be, what's your opinion on truth in comedy? Is this different than an average joke, or is there something? Am I just looking at this differently, and is it affecting us differently, or I don't know? Is this just comedy? Comedy's not necessarily true.
My mentality with a lot of things is you got to look at it as a case by case basis, and I don't. It's my opinion. I don't have any insight into this, but it's my opinion that he didn't have a Netflix special's worth of solid material, so he resorted.
I could see that.
So he resorted to bizarre levels of like storytelling that I'm still trying to find the humor in.
I mean, there's a little chuckle in the middle. You know, it
That's
kind
not
of
a
seems like
chuckle.
nervous laughter, but the crescendo isn't to hilarity. It's not laughing. It's kind of a oh type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
weirdness. Like
I'm gonna
it's I don't know if it's even clappier.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you on this weird journey where you're gonna kind of feel miserable and bad for me, but my wife's pregnant. Hey, claps! Yay! What? Is that
It
a
was
joke?
like it was
Yeah,
like it was
like
being written for like an episode of TV, and he
Yeah,
was like trying to like
it feels
adapt
like it.
an episode of TV, and he was like, "Fuck, they don't want this story. I'm gonna do it as my stand up.
yeah,
That'll get it.
yeah,
That'll tug the heartstrings." Like it's
yeah.
just a crazy fucking thing to say. Like I don't think I guess you could do whatever you want performatively, but we're talking
Sure.
about Gallagher smashing fucking watermelons and Carrot
That's
Top,
only part of it, man.
but
He had thinkers too.
Yes, yeah, and Carrot Top, as I said too. Yeah. I got to give Gallagher a better shake. That's fair.
but it's not like I don't know that it's not comedy. That's for shit sure.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't.
Mhm.
It's funny, the dynamic that I've been taught and trained to is get there in 3. You get it well, especially if you're performing 10 or shorter minutes. You want da 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 bang, da 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 bang. The rule of 3s. Math's a big thing in comedy, and George
Mhm.
Carlin defied that. Like George Carlin, with whatever the fuck he did with the English language, just absolutely destroyed the typical joke structure. 3 sentences, you better have a punchline. So like the structure in which he tells this story defies anything that I would recognize as comedy. But if you're going to go 6, 7, 8 minutes without a true laugh line, which he does sprinkle 1 or 2 in there in the middle, you
Yeah.
better hit hard with a you better kill the room with whatever you're finishing with, because my wife's pregnant. I don't know, like, why are you using your Netflix special to fish for like claps? Like what
Yeah.
what
You know what it made
It's
me
a
it made me think of recently, that when we had talked about this, Gray, it made me think of that Bill Burr bit, because you ever seen that Bill Burr bit about the he can't sleep in the middle of the night one night, so he's watching TV and he starts watching this documentary about this gorilla, and like
oh,
and he goes on throughout
yes.
the whole story, and he's like, I'm fucking riveted by this gorilla, blah blah blah, and like he's like, I'm watching this, and they give it a fucking kitten, and my wife gets up and we're watching it, and he's like really tugging at you, and then he gets to the punchline, which is that the kitten gets out, gets killed, and dies, and everybody's like ripped apart by it, and then he's like, and then the documentary ends, and he's like, and then he's done, and everybody's like, what the fuck? He's like, well, that's how I felt, and then he got the laugh,
yeah. Yeah.
like it reminds me of that.
Oh,
But
poor
that's a
Coco.
fucking tragic. I mean, it's not as personal, obviously, but it's a tragic story where there's like you can tell that story, as fucked up as it is. I mean, I could tell you guys stories about when I got arrested when I was younger, which were fucking awful.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you the story and you'll laugh your ass off.
Yeah.
But he could have told that whole fucking story, and like just thrown jokes in there everywhere, like drop the powder on the kid's blowing lines off it or something. I don't know. Like I'm not prepared to punch his jokes up at this moment, but that would be really fun. We should do that on another maybe on like a couple shows down the road.
Get some
Take
blow?
that same bit. Yeah.
Oh.
Do blow
Yeah,
together.
I think it'll help with the punch
No,
up.
let's take that bit and punch it up and see how we could have actually made it.
Ooh. Ooh,
Because it's
yeah,
not
throw
fucking
some laugh
funny.
lines
It
in there.
actually sounds kind of fun.
Like come up with a couple of jokes for each part of it, and
The
see how you-
closer's
see how
got to
you
go.
could've
I
made
guess
that
we could do
funny.
his work for him.
You know?
Closer's got to go. We got to figure out a new way to end that joke.
Perfect.
Joke.
We could end it with me getting his wife pregnant.
And my kid's
Well-
addicted to coke. My baby.
So I was kind of surprised by your answer as to you didn't see that as comedy. Like,
No.
don't get me wrong, like I don't see it either, but I don't know. Like, is it fair game to try anything at comedy? Like, so I'm not saying that it's the exact same or anything like that, but like I've heard a lot of comedians say that like they don't view what Hannah Gatsby is doing as comedy. It's kind of more I don't know if you'd call it storytelling, but it doesn't necessarily have punchlines put in there as well.
I'm unfamiliar
Would
with
you
Hannah
consider
Gatsby.
that?
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
Terrible.
She was kind of a big thing a few years ago, Australian, I believe. But you might want to familiarize
crazy.
yourself
It's
with some
crazy
of
to
her
watch
work.
her.
But
Okay.
it's kind of along those same lines. It's
Definitely, she
it
appeals to
reminded me a lot of
someone,
his type of stories.
and just not most people.
You see,
But I think Nanette was the one that the special that kind of put her on the map.
Hannah
Yeah.
Gatsby.
If you were to
Lot
check
of-
out one,
lot
it
of
would probably be
clapping.
that.
Yes, she's the granddaughter.
Yes. Maybe it's just Gatsby. Maybe I'm adding a
It's all
T
right.
in there.
Google will
but
probably fix it for me.
yeah,
Um,
I think so. But I'd be interested kind of in your take on that because it seems like it's similar to this. Like it's not going for like big punchlines or anything. Like every once in a while there's a little chuckle, but it kind of feels like nervous laughter. Like the audience is just kind of like the "Who have you been antagonizing" part in Hassan's bit, where it was like the audience kind of chuckled, but it wasn't really a punchline there either.
yeah. So to some,
But if you're not familiar with it, just kind of go down a weird
well,
road.
it certainly can stick to anybody that doesn't really do stand up and in the style of jokes every now and again. People pay their dues. So I would assume
Yeah.
that she did stand up, she did open mics, she did whatever for whatever to get to whatever popularity she had, or to kind of pivot to the film industry. Rotten Tomatoes, some of their critics are not film studies. They're not journalists. They're popular.
Yeah.
So their opinion is counted as a critic, and it's just like, no, they don't know what they're talking about. They just watch the movie. They can't talk about why the cinematography evokes some sort of emotion from you. They just don't like it, and they have 5 million subs. So they're a critic on your thing. And people who genuinely, snooty people, as far like if you're looking at the Rotten Tomato score, you got to look at both of them and just find the difference. So in the same thing with comedy, if you're popular and you have a certain amount of people that will come and see you, I guess you can get whatever whatever your art form is, and if Netflix wants to call it a comedy special or what have you, that's on them. I mean, I keep resorting to George Carlin. You can tune into late 80s, all 90s, all early 2000s George Carlin for big stretches where he's just going off on shit, and it's just like, where are the jokes, man? Like, I'm learning, but where are the jokes?
That is kind of how my dad would have described like Carlin's comedy, but he also didn't like. I guess he doesn't like ranting comedy. So like Lewis Black also didn't kind of meet his standards of comedy.
Yeah,
I thought he was funny for like the time.
I'm open for him.
Just like that crazy.
Really, that's awesome, man.
Oh yeah,
and I made a joke about
to me.
it.
He's kind of like. That's awesome.
He was
really
talking to some other female comedian, and she was going up after him, and I don't know, maybe he was trying to get himself a date or something. And I made a joke, and I said, "Hey, you get to say that Lewis Black opened for you." And he looked at me like, "Go fuck yourself." And I was like, "Oh, you guys are doing a thing. I'm sorry."
He's probably like, "Get out of here."
Yeah, he looked at me like I basically told him I fucked his children or something. It was really, really a bad look. So, there's that.
That's unfortunate. But I mean, that is a story, which, that's kind
which is funny because it wasn't good. That happened to you.
And my wife's pregnant.
You can tell it.
And my wife's pregnant. That kid almost got anthrax, but didn't. Hilarious.
That's the important part. You brought up the anthrax thing. If somebody takes your art and thinks dangerous thoughts, you are responsible for that, because your personal truth or whatever the fuck it is, it's supposed to be an art form. It's supposed to challenge people. It's not supposed to, I don't know, have people think that you've been wronged and stir up, the rhetoric, and everything right now is just way too hot on both sides. You
sure.
should know that. As somebody who's he's whatever on the Daily Show, a contributor or whatever the fuck.
I think he's a contributor,
Yeah,
but
he's
he,
not gonna be
like
the
he had his
host,
own
that's for
kind of
sure.
knockoff with, not currently. He was a front runner.
Yeah, so he knows what's going on in America right now. Why
Yeah.
in the fuck would you be that irresponsible with your personal truth and say something like that when you know both sides, both extremes are just looking for reasons to say, "See, this is what's this is what's the problem with thing." And
Well, and he did kind of justify it a little bit further on in that article. It wasn't covered in that video that we covered, but he was basically saying that like it is true for somebody. He's telling somebody's story.
Oh, get
It's
the
like,
fuck out of here.
yeah,
I don't know.
to that detail?
I don't know. Like it was kind of more in addressing specifically like the allegations that he was assaulted by the undercover FBI member. He was in that situation. He was saying that he was telling somebody else's story.
Yeah, but
It's crazy.
It's
Like
true
I'm
for
sure like
somebody.
somebody has fucked Ariana Grande, but I can't really get up on stage and say I have.
You don't want to tell their story?
It was great. she was a giver.
Yeah, using details like that. I
So-
mean, like movies have to do it inspired by a true story and based by a true story are very different.
So
Inspired
do
is
you view like comedy kind of that way? Like like people have accused like a lot of the storytellers. Like I'm trying to think of like a big story. The one that keeps coming to me is like The Machine, like Bert Kreischer. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
He just made a movie out of that same story, but there's a lot of claims that like that isn't exactly how it went down or it's not true. Does there have to be like a kernel of truth or a percentage of actual truth in like a joke, or do we actually think like the chicken crossed the road, or does storytelling seem to be different from just a joke?
I mean, it depends on what you're saying. Usually jokes have some sort of percentage of comedy. Like it comes from something.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you're joking about life on Pluto, like how the fuck what are you basing this on? Like there's got to be something that you're feeding off of. Even if it's 1%, there's some element of truth to joke telling or stand up or storytelling or whatever the hell. But again, you the intent is important too. What do you?
It feels like
what
it.
are you trying to get out of that? Because it's not laughs, evidently. So, what's the end game?
That's a good question. I think your hypothesis makes a lot of sense. Like I'm trying to fill time that I don't have anything for. I can't really make people laugh, but I could make them kind of, again, pity seek if you kind of want to combine both of those theories.
And again,
together.
that's just a theory. I'm not claiming to be an authority or anything. I don't think if I were Netflix, I would have somebody much stronger doing stand up specials. But Hasan Minhaj is popular, so here we're gonna watch this because he's the guy that we know from Daily Show, where Vic DiBitetto, strong comedian, excuse me. He's got a following on YouTube. Give him a Netflix special and watch what that man can do in an hour.
Well,
I'm telling you, he's not going to be talking about babies and he might be, but it's not going to take that long.
There really isn't a lot like a platform besides YouTube that when we were all a bit younger, I guess in like the 90s and the 80s, there was there was like the 70s, I think, and 80s of like the golden age of comedy, so to speak. I don't know if that's the right term.
Saturated, if anything.
But
then there was
but then,
the HBO special.
But then when we hit the 90s, we had all these like smaller venues for comics to come out that weren't quite I don't know the right terminology. They weren't headliners, but they weren't I guess they were road comics.
Yeah.
What was the black one on HBO all the time? Def Comedy Jam.
Oh yeah.
Def Comedy.
Like there was a few shows like that where you would have these little comedy specials where it would literally be like I didn't realize it at the time when I was a kid, but it would be like a camera set up, I guess, at like whatever, like the Laugh Factory or the Comedy Cellar, and that's what the night was. It's a night of comedy, and it's they had the whole fucking thing instead of just being a big special, which is really I feel like what you get more of now.
Yeah.
So there is no platform for like the new comedians.
It's always kind of
especially
switched around. I mean, like, the HBO specials weren't a thing, and then it was like the biggest thing ever, and there's
yeah.
only a limited number of those, and those went by the wayside. And then it was like, Comedy Central, like, okay, I got a Comedy Central Presents or whatever, and
Yeah.
those are kind
Well,
of gone now.
y-
So,
y-
I,
there
kind of a
was
weird question on that. Where do you see your comedy now most, Charles? Like, if you were to watch comedy, would it be live or would it be like YouTube or something like that?
The
I'm
bathroom walls of a rest stop.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an introvert.
Hmm.
I'm right now, to be honest with you, I watch people that like I know and am a fan of, and I have a certain amount of respect for. If Bill Burr has something new, I make it a point to see it. Ricky Gervais is somebody I make a
Nice.
point to see. Um,
Gervais is awesome.
I have a bit of like, if somebody needs help, if I have this thing that I really should plug, but I don't remember what it is. I have this web service thing where I can teach people, but I haven't, it's hard for me. I have this because I can't do it. Like I have this jealousy within me where,
Hmm.
comedians I would have watched anyway while, working, I still watch, but there's this sort of like, I'm better than that person. I really need to just get my shit together. I have this like jealousy and competitive nature about me where there's certain people that I watch that I'm just like, fuck, if I were healthy, you motherfucker.
I think that's a natural feeling, though, no matter the industry you're in.
What?
Yeah, for
I'm in
sure.
sales, and I'm like, how is this fucking idiot like outselling me again this month? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
the guy
yeah.
has fucking Velcro shoes on his sneakers, and eats fucking his lunch out of a can, and is making like $200,000 a year. I'm like, this cunt's.
Yeah.
But like, I get it. So it's like, you look at these people. How is that person fucking further along?
Yep. Yeah. Well, and
It's frustrating.
to a certain degree, I've embraced the writer and or mentor side. It's fucking terrible that I'm at an age where I've been doing comedy longer than 20 years. It's ridiculous. Well, I haven't performed in the last 4. Well, COVID really made everything terrible. But I started in the 1900s. At the very end, but still, it's hard to.
That's kind of awesome to be able to say. It probably blows some kids' minds.
Yeah,
As long
I
as
mean,
it-
I
as
was
long
a
as you leave
kid.
the word "minds" in there.
Touchy subject.
As long as I get to the
yeah.
mind is the point. I probably shouldn't. My initials are the worst. So, like, to a certain degree, like, I look at it as like, I mean, Keegan-Michael Key was just on Bill Maher last night, and they discussed how comedians view other comedians, and it's dead right. It's dead on. And comedians don't normally laugh at other comedians, and more often than not, like my wife used to get frustrated because she would watch stand up, and I'd be like, he's going to joke about either this, or this, and like I can find the range of where the punchline will be, and she was like, "Can you not?
For sure.
Can you
Yeah.
not do that?"
Yeah, stop fucking ruining it.
Yeah, and so it's if they swerved me, I'd be like, that was good. Not like I'd laugh. I mean, I genuinely think it's funny, but it's like, yeah, respect. That was a good joke.
It
So
was a smart joke.
yeah, it tricked me. I
Mhm.
played the numbers and lost. Card counter. That's what I am in comedy.
Mm.
But I genuinely, I don't, if they're not well established within my favorites, I don't seek out comedy because I'm so personally just dejected that I'm not doing it.
Mm. I could definitely see that. I know I had to kind of take a step back from music, and I probably didn't listen to anything for quite
Yeah.
a while when I finally realized, like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So I get
I
it.
mean,
I had the same thing with being handsome.
Well, one day you'll have to experience that. You'll have to stop looking at handsome guys.
Yeah, I can't.
damn
Especially,
mirrors.
especially when
all
I'm,
over the
yeah,
place.
God damn it, you beat me to it. Every morning when I brush my teeth, fucking handsome guys staring at me.
But yeah, like, and there's other things where like my wife would watch a special from somebody that I've worked with, and I'm like, really? That person? I've worked with that
Do you
person.
think less of people if they have bad taste in comedy? Like if they like someone you despise is like, oh, I don't know. Just wondering. Like I would definitely do that with bands. It's like
Yeah,
really
there's-
you like Nickelback? Like okay.
yeah. Well, yeah, like the term gatekeeper certainly has been thrown around quite a bit.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I definitely have done quite a bit of my life. I'm trying to get away from that, but I don't know. Do you feel like it kind of has to be done? Like you've definitely got to judge other comedians
sure.
because
So
I mean,
sometimes I get
you
paid
know.
for it. But
Yeah.
yeah, like you put your if you're performing or have plans to or did, you kind of like put yourself up against them and like, I could have done that better. Like, why are you doing?
I
This
think you
person's on
definitely have
TV.
to.
Yeah, but there's
Well,
been times where I've like resented a lot about comedy, especially on the road, especially being in a town that
that'd be so
sucks.
tough. I can only imagine. Yeah, I think it'd be much of the same of the kind of stuff that I experienced on the road, and it's not as glamorous as you kind of make it up
No,
to in your mind, at least
no.
as I did.
You
But
get stuck in Scranton,
yeah,
Pennsylvania, and it's not like The Office.
No, it
They
is
they don't
not.
they don't show the shitty parts of Scranton, and, in between Friday and Saturday, you're like, "There's fuck all to do here." Like, this is terrible.
It's the dregs of society.
Yeah, and I'm opening for some shitbag with a stupid hat on. Oh, wait, that's me.
Yeah.
It's just, the road, it pays the bills, but it sucks. There are parts of this country where, like, you realize quickly that you are the entertainment, and it's just like when you're off stage, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
What's there to do in this town? Oh, we were just at it. Oh,
Yeah, I
this is
travel
terrible.
a lot for business. It's shocking how fucking boring most of this country is.
Hmm.
There's really exciting parts, and I never realized I live right next to all of them. I mean,
Yeah.
being a Jersey boy, especially people not Jersey all the time, but we have everything right fucking here. It's like a smaller California, just
Mhm.
less homeless.
well, you guys like actually have stuff going on.
We have
like, on the
mountains.
coast. I'm in a
we have
flyover
fucking
state. There is
beaches.
like nothing here. It is just yeah. I live in that boring place that you
You
guys are
do.
talってabout. We do have mountains though, so that's nice.
I was
Prairies.
No beaches. We're
I was
landlocked.
in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and I don't know if these women were interested in me or whatever, but they're like, I was like, hey, listen, I'm kind of wired. What is there? What's the best place to go to just kind of whatever? And they said there's this cool retro bar. If you follow us, I don't know if they're into me or whatever, but I followed them to this bar, and it was barren. It was empty, and they were playing like really out of touch, like disco music. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I walked in, I said, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, and then right out this side door. Just all right, back to the hotel.
I picture like the walls of this bar made of like wood paneling and like a
Yeah.
particular cigarette smell, even though there may have not been a cigarette in there for like 10 years.
Yeah, it just
Like
it
urinal
just
cake and old beer.
it was the closest thing to time travel I've ever experienced, where it's just like, what the fuck? Don't you guys
Right.
have the internet?
It's a great place to meet a woman.
Or
Or
you
your
soon.
It's a great place to get introduced to hepatitis C.
You understand why Dahmer had it so easy in Milwaukee. You get fucking nothing else to do there. Jesus.
Yeah, shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah, I want to come back to my place. There's certainly this bar sucks, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's like I have a TV.
I have a TV.
That's all it took back
It's
then.
a step up.
Now it's like I got one in my hand. Like, what do you got here? What you got there? TV. I got VCR.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm jealous. Is the short answer to that question. I'm very jealous.
Well, I
That's
get
the
it.
honest answer.
I definitely am too. Yeah. Thank you for being honest.
Yay!
With that
On the
answer.
show, I'm being
It's a safe place.
Yeah.
well,
Well, I
hold
think
on,
that's kinda
I don't want to be the star of the show here. Patrick, do you
Yeah.
think that Hasan Minhaj thing is comedy?
No,
Even if you don't. Oh, all right. Well, like, can you? Well, can you recognize comedy if you don't like it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like again, that Hannah Gadsby, I don't like her, but I recognize the fact that she. See, I think there's like a difference. Like people confuse being funny and being a comedian. They're not the same thing. Like I'm pretty funny. We're all funny. You're a comedian. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference. Like I'm witty or off the cuff, and I can recall things fast. Whatever. There's people who do it way faster than I do. But I it's not the same as me preparing something, putting it together, building the concept, writing it down, refining it, working it out till it's finally a finished product that I'm ready to present and sell. It's like they're wildly different things. So just because, again, I mean, I'm being a little harsh on Hasan Minhaj because he lied about some things I'm a little sensitive to, and plus I just think it's pity seeking is lame.
Well, the prom thing is that's terrible.
It's just horrendous. Terrible. It's horrendous. But, you know, he did work on that. He did put it together. He did present it in a comedy special. And they are, from what we saw, I've only seen the 5 minutes or whatever it was. I don't know. Was there other comedy in there? Maybe it was just a shit bit. I don't know. But, like, was he?
There was some.
Again, though, the point is that I don't think funny and comedian necessarily has to be together. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's a generous way to put it. I would slightly agree with that. I mean, there's moments where I have what I call simulated spontaneity, where, you know, from having a joke miss every now and again, like I have something prepared that seems a lot more off the cuff and, you know, witty than it really is, because like I just know that this joke will miss every fifth time. So, you know, there's this what I call simulated spontaneity, where, you know, from having a bad show, my segue to funeral. You're at one, and that usually gets a laugh. You know, have you ever been to a funeral? You're at one.
Yeah,
I'm dying.
It's like a continuity joke.
Yeah. In case of break glass.
Can I ask you then? So I guess it kind of fits along with what you were saying. Like, I know you didn't use the term cheat code, but kind of with you know, like ventriloquists or like prop comics. Do you view like crowd work the same way? Like, is the purest comedy something that you've written and it's just one man, one mic, or is it working off the room? Like, I don't know.
I've seen some people do some incredible things with crowd work, and I've seen some people do some, again, simulated spontaneity, where I've worked with a comic. I won't say his name because I don't want to, you know, throw him under a bus, but he does crowd work, and I've worked with him a couple of times, and he asks somebody what they do, and person says I work in the air conditioning business, and he goes, cool, and it gets a laugh because, you know, it's a fucking whatever. Yeah. And then I was like, but that's really sharp on the spot like that. And you know, then a couple of shows later, a couple of months later, somebody works in the refrigerator industry. Cool. And I was like,
cool.
Oh, wait a minute. He does the thing that I do. I thought the spontaneity thing was special.
Yeah.
It does seem like a lot of crowd work is kind of that kind of prepared spontaneity. So that's why I was kind of wondering, like, do you view that as kind of like a cheat in comedy too? Is that not like pure, or?
Well, you got to start.
I don't know.
You got to start bare, I would assume. And you've I'm sorry. Am I losing him, Patrick?
Yeah,
he's got to think about lights.
I've never had people walk out of me.
I have to turn my lights on and off.
You walked half the audience already.
I like to turn them on. I turn them off. I look around. I thought we were done.
Just
I zoned out like 25
It's not the
minutes
first
ago.
time. Trust me. What was I saying? Oh, well, you have to start. Fair point. You have to start somewhere. So, like doing crowd work, even if you're getting the simulated spontaneity, as I put it, you have to build up a repertoire of, you know, talking to people enough. So if you're making them laugh while you're still building that repertoire, there's a talent in that. Again, like I said before, it's art. everybody's art is subjective. What they want to do with it is subjective. Some people say that Stephen Wright isn't a comedian. I would argue that heavily.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I love that dude.
Indeed.
I Have a Pony is one of the
Yeah.
greatest albums ever.
I mean, Mitch Hedberg, same thing. Another one we lost way too soon. Did he make you laugh? Was he on stage? Okay,
yeah.
well then, what's the
Yeah.
problem? He didn't have a YouTube
I
channel.
think it's just
so-
like so simple, you know, like receipt for donut. Like I don't know. Like, do you really need like I don't know. It's weird to like see that bit written out.
Ducks
But
eat
yeah,
free at
it's
Subway. That oh my
yeah.
god! But it's for a duck.
Just I don't know. It's also I couldn't understand how some people wouldn't consider that. But again, like it kind of goes to that lying thing. Like I don't think that those are necessarily true, but I can see those as jokes and I have no problem with it. So why is it that Hasan thing like hitting me so much differently? I don't know. It's just something about that
Because
like
he was a middle act who had an
storytelling.
hour to kill.
I think that's like a good part of it, but so the way that he's doing it is this like pity-seeking behavior. I don't know. It seems different to me, but I'm not upset with like comedians lying to me. So I don't know. I guess I'm still trying to figure out why that feels different to me. But I don't know.
It's the cause and effect. He should have known what he was doing. You know, when he says it,
Well, arguably he
it's
did.
somebody's truth. Well, let them tell it as their story then. If you like, if that's
Yeah.
what you believe, then say, hey, there's somebody right now that's going through this experience where their kid has cocaine on their shoulder and the people are calling it anthrax, and oh, my wife's pregnant. Do it
Yeah, I
that way.
guess. Oh, I actually might have a good twist for that joke. Okay.
Well, then we're reworking
Well, I mean,
it.
yeah, I kind of just thought. I mean, it's white powder. Like you got to go one way with it. But yeah,
Well, I mean,
that's
a lot
interesting.
of it comes down to our favorite word, intent. You
Yeah.
know, like
Mm.
we need a thing for intent, like intent.
Dun, dun.
But
I
like,
guess we could use like the criminal intent thing.
Yeah.
Like if we get
Yeah,
that
done.
stinger in there.
But no,
Mhm.
in what was his fucking intention with that bit? Like,
It
was it trying
was
to
the
make people
comedy.
laugh?
Yeah.
Which is comedy, right? I mean, I get you can get some shit out in a comedy special, but like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're gonna take the comedy out of the comedy, maybe it should be true.
Was that his? I know he's had 2 on Netflix. Was that his first or second?
I don't know. I don't know
The
who he
first one
was
was Homecoming King.
yesterday.
So the first one was
That
about
was the
like
prom
his
thing?
the homecoming dance thing.
Ugh.
Yeah, and then the second one was he mentioned the terrorist, the FBI guy who assaulted
his
him, and then
head,
he
right?
also mentioned the white powder. Yeah, that was King's Jester, the most recent one. I think it was
So
this
between the 2, he might have had a solid hour, maybe.
year. Maybe. I mean, like, there's like old like just for laughs clips of him and stuff where he was telling like actual jokes. It wasn't like storytelling. It seems like it's kind of changed. So your
I
theory
can
seems to
listen.
make
I can
sense, but
scramble
he just
45 minutes together. That may not be the strongest thing ever. What you're going to laugh somewhere, but to kill another 15 minutes, I'm not resorting to storytelling. What? I just like I said, there's comedians. I mean, somebody I've worked with on the road that like really never got a look. I don't even know if he's still doing it anymore. Joe Maffa is somebody that I thought was hysterical. Like I would always laugh, and he'd always get the short end of the stick because he's not a name. He was a headliner, and I would always get booked with him because we were repped by the same company, and like he would just kill me. And I think he was funnier when when there was less of a crowd because he was just like he was kind of like Rodney Dangerfield in the way that he would just like mock the fact that he's stuck in Scranton doing stand up to 4 people to feed his fat wife and his ugly kids. Like it's fucking hysterical. Like why didn't he catch on for at least something? Just something. That's the thing where I get jealous, where it's just like this guy's telling this shit when Joe Maffa can't get 5 minutes on a fucking whatever. Well, you know what? Let me shut up because I was on Gotham Live. I probably deserve it less than Joe Maffa does. So.
Well, we weren't on
all
any,
right.
so you can talk whatever shit you want.
Well, Joe Maffa could have had my spot. So, all right. Well,
I've heard of you. I've never heard of him. So
you only heard of me because I called Eric July a UT.
That's true.
That's really it.
We now refer to, we're doing soft language here. We're calling it a urinary tract. That's what TG stands for here.
But again, cause and effect. Listen, I'm not saying that what I did was right, admirable, acceptable, but there's a reason I did that. Things
For
things
sure.
that he did and said were utterly unacceptable to me, performative or not. And then he continued to do it against somebody who looked like him. And he kept doing this, like, stereotype, fucking fat shaming, whatever the hell. And I was like, all right, I've kind of had it, because it seemed as if he was watching, and his fans certainly were. And it was just like, you know what? You're doing a disservice to a lot of people with how loose you are with language. So I will be loose with language. Again, two wrongs don't make a right.
You
but-
did say I'm going to get in the mud with them, and
Yeah.
and that's the implication. And
Mhm.
I don't. It is what it is. But I don't. Again, the view I had of that whole situation was so predetermined in my head. Yeah, I can't.
Before
think
the
of
armistice.
I just I was like, this fucking asshole. What the fuck? How could he say this?
Yeah.
But then,
yeah.
if you really think about it all, it's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Fucking relax.
I own it. I own it.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
say
I'm not saying it was a good thing to say.
sure. Sure,
No.
and nor do I. But at the same time, I just beg people who call me a typical leftist racist to look at what started that, and
Yeah.
then come
Yeah,
back to me.
it was definitely giving back some of what he was giving
Yeah,
out,
absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah,
And,
I'll take the heat.
you're not
I just wanted to
exactly in
mention-
bad company. Nick Rakita kind of had a similar situation, I think,
Oh,
like
Rakita
last
Law?
week, where him and Eric July had kind of a huge blow up. But in the streams following, he did have some choice words to say about Eric July, and he also kind of was quoting Eric July, who did call him the N word. So I don't know. It seems like he kind of got in the mud a little bit himself. I think a lot of us have definitely been there.
Yeah.
I know I've been heated in a situation. I've definitely said words that I did not mean to, and they don't reflect what I actually think in every situation.
Sure.
I think it's definitely understandable.
And when we get in front of a camera, that's the other thing. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole performative thing
sure,
as well.
that gets lost on this generation with YouTube and
Mhm.
TikTok and things like that. Some people are just letting you into their lives, and even that is slanted to a certain point. They're letting you see what they want you to see.
Yeah.
But we're all being a different version of ourselves. There's some sort of performative nature to this.
We all wear a mask of some
Sure.
sorts.
Sure.
I'm pure. You guys might be fucked up, but
Well, I mean, when you got a face like that, you don't need a mask. I've
just-
just been told,
I'm just
wear
true
a
to
mask.
myself. I don't know what kind of bullshit you guys are fucking pull. I say everything that's on my mind all the time. It's usually just pure good shit.
Yeah.
You guys
It's
are fucked
Yeah.
up.
Mhm.
somebody who talks about somebody else's kids
It's shitty.
when they're not there to defend it.
It seems like that
Yeah.
should definitely be off limits. There should be some lines, and it kind of seems like
I've crossed
insulting
lines.
somebody else's kids.
Yeah, we all have. I mean,
for sure.
I-
I definitely have. In traffic all the
sure,
time.
sure.
I cross lines.
Yeah.
No, that's why, honestly, going back to all of it, it's so awesome that you reached out, because I really easily feel like, and I don't want to speak for Gray, but I'm sure you agree, that easily you can head down a road here, that we were almost on that path and trying to actively
Mhm.
divert ourselves off this path. We would have talked about it every week. We don't want to fucking do this tit for tat, looking for everything.
We have
Picking apart
so
every
many
word.
ideas for things, and it's like, well, we can't get to
Yeah.
that. We've got to talk about this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Someone
just
called me a
sucks
starfish.
for months. We were talking about okay, we're done, right? We can just cover something. Okay, now they brought this. It was just
And then you
it was
just,
bad.
you get
We were headed
dirtier
down a
and dirtier.
road, and I feel like we lost control. We were just kind of going
Yeah.
down this thing, and
And there's
I think
there's some.
you've helped us look at ourselves in a different light.
I won't take that much credit, thank you, but there's some sort of.
You helped us.
I appreciate. Well, listen, you could have been like, "This guy's trying to fucking trick us. Fuck this shit."
The thought,
I mean,
the
those
thought
thoughts
might
definitely
have crossed my
occurred to
mind.
us. So.
Still waiting for a
But,
masked
we want to
man
make
to pop
ourselves
up behind
vulnerable
you.
too.
The fucking
Yeah.
helmet.
It's right here. But
got you, fascists.
I just picked up on what you did. But yeah, like there's a reason. Like it started because you guys were tagging me, and
Yeah.
I was like, I haven't been around in months. So like part of it was like, what is left of me that they're talking about? And
Well, we wanted to rank everyone
I
there.
get it.
You know,
we also
it was
added
based
Ed.
off of a letter that
I
we
mean,
got, but
somebody.
still, we chose to include everybody that was in there.
Fucking
So,
Gordy was in there.
yeah.
It's listen. You missed a golden opportunity in including Ripa in this.
Oh my god,
somewhere.
that you told me that. That was
I know.
brilliant.
It's like, oh my god, why wasn't Gordy too? You're right. Like there is one key member that we forgot to
he's
mention.
on that.
This all would not be possible without Eric.
Sure, he's
July.
on there more than
The
anybody.
number one member, the board of directors, the board of directors, fucking Eric July.
Yeah, I've literally had like nightmares where the "I don't understand it" clip has played in my nightmares, and I'm like, for fuck's sake with this thing.
Who hasn't said that about like something though? Like, fair enough. I mean, I used a bunch of like stupid clips of those guys in hopefully a comedic fashion, but like, I don't know. I feel like that one's kind of mean. I mean, like, I'm sure at some point in this I said I don't understand or I don't get or something. You know, like it's kind of a way of admitting, like, you know, I'd like to know more about this particular thing. I don't know. I just
Yeah, but the problem is
Yeah.
context, and you know, for and again, intent. If you're going to use clips and things like that, what are the things that are before and after it that you know that you're clipping this stuff with? And
Yeah.
like, I just got because I have no shame saying this. I speak to 2 therapists. I suffer from quite a bit of issues with mental health.
I know Patrick doesn't, but I do as well.
I know.
So
Not the 2 therapists, but the
I
mental
suffer
health
from
issue.
mental health issues. I just don't seek help for it.
I mean, with that face, why
Should
would
be a health seeker.
I solve it in other ways.
yeah. So like I just felt like this isn't healthy. Like we're out seeking things to like hate on. And I thought the whole idea was to not to be fans.
Yeah.
And like when I watched you guys, the first, you know, whatever of the ranking video, I'm like, wait, this is what things should be. This is, you know, just talking about your week, you know, being some sort of topical. What did you watch? Here is something of relevance, and you know, like a podcast, and no hatred, but you know, then there's a second half where it plays right into the Mobius strip, as I like to call it, and where does it end? It just gets deeper and more scandalous and volatile, and the fact that there was a situation where this could have been, you know, me, not even me being here, could have been
Or me. I was also optional on this. Like I didn't have to be there, but there was a bridge that was offered.
Yeah. The fact that this thing is so late, it troubles me because it seems as if as a group they actually chose to keep the scandal part. And again, something that was, you know, given to the group was treated by a wing of the group and kind of like mocked and taken apart. And like how on earth are you supposed to be an ambassador if you're mocking something where whether or not, you know, whatever your intent was with those questions, the fact that it was treated in that fashion is frustrating. And it's I don't know good faith, bad faith, whatever. I would assume that stream is bad faith because how do they know what your intent was? Those questions were harmless.
Yeah, we're so focused on good faith, bad faith. Everybody forgot about charity. How about do a little fucking charity every once in a while? Stick your neck out. Like let's just say with those questions, hypothetically speaking, I did. You know, anybody who knows me would know I didn't do that. You know, look to fuck anyone over. But if let's say I did, it was designed as like a total goof. At very least, then you could have said, look, these guys, this is why we don't fucking trust these guys. See, we stuck our neck out, we extended the olive branch, and they treated us like shit, but instead it was just automatically assumed bad.
Yeah.
And then I got so triggered by it that it made me like, oh, okay, everybody in that group's a fucking asshole then. It's not just the one guy.
And that's
And I get the desire to do that because, we were kind of weary. Like when you first reached
Yeah.
out, we're like, could this be legit? Like, I can't see why this wouldn't be, but I don't know, still that questioning. So I can understand it, for them not to trust us. We totally get that. Like, we're not saying you should. I mean, I could totally understand you also being weary of, meeting us today. Who knows? We might be assholes. Maybe this was a gotcha.
I'm already an
Wait till you see the edited version of this.
Yeah, you're not going to believe your ears.
just everything out of context.
Yeah. It's like Charles.
100%.
I like to fuck kids.
I got to watch my words. Damn it.
So I do understand, a certain trepidation or whatever, not wanting to trust us, but
But
that's just
yeah, I mean, you like if you have the opportunity to make this like some salacious thing where like we're joking about it, but you could throw another log onto the fire and say, racist Eric July guy talks about comedy and doesn't give a shit about Jada Pinkett. Like you could frame it in this fashion where it's just like, holy shit.
Well, thanks for giving us the title for this one. We were going to go with a different
struggling.
thing, but
I think we were gonna go with this is a bad idea.
But like there are moments where like if an olive branch is extended, even if you're weary, why swat it away? I mean, they've done things before where if I were I was kind of uncomfortable with it. I wasn't a part of a certain interview of former members of a rival group is the best way I can put it. One of them had much more polite titles than initials than I do. And I thought that was salacious because if we're ambassadors for fandom, there was a moment there where somebody said that they watch movies and wait for things to pick apart. And that's not I don't know anybody that enjoys like who does that? Like that is
Yeah.
And the fact that wasn't called on, I was just like, why? What are we doing here? Why would you not say why do you do that? That's like, that I don't know if that's like cinema sins mentality or what, but like why would you watch something just to like fuel negative thoughts? Like what is
No, I get what you're saying. It's like one thing for a
feel
group
like we
of guys.
were getting into a bit of that ourselves.
right? And
that's something that you helped us see and realize that's not what we want to continue with.
it's
But,
unhealthy.
yeah, that's a really
It
good point.
really is unhealthy. Why do something that listen, I mean, if I've said it over in that group that a certain drinker from Scotland, I would hope that
There's so many of them. Though.
I don't know why he's drinking American whiskey. That's
Yeah, there's a few that have disappeared though. They've gone straight into the wokeness protection program. We don't know what happened to these fucking people.
Like there's certain people that are grifting that I would assume they know what the fuck's up and they're playing the algorithm. I would gamble that some of them are playing the algorithm. However, some of it is dangerous because it's like, the ground floor to, dangerous things. And the same can be said in the opposite end. People, on the hard end of the left that, you must do this thing this way. You can't, you've got to like, to be fair, I have quite a few people in my inner circle that, again, my wife identifies as not straight, so I don't know what the fuck, why she married to me, but
Well, it makes sense to me now.
Yeah. I'm just a beard for her, I guess.
Pretty much.
But I have quite a few people in my inner circle that I've spoken to and asked questions, because I think we talked about this before we went live. There's no like guide or pamphlet that's given out each year that socially these are the acceptable terms. This is no longer what we say. We say this. So when people just genuinely are like, what do I say? They shouldn't be embarrassed to say that, because, well, you know what? If they call you the thing that you don't want to be called, you have no right shooting them down. And you know, if people are making a genuine effort, that shouldn't be mocked. Like that's insane. But at the same time, we're saying stuff right now that we think is okay. 20 years from now, people are going to look back and be like, "Oh my god, that didn't age well."
I'm a little concerned with some of the stuff that Patrick said in this very
like I was talking
conversation.
I was talking the other day to my colored transvestite friend, and they were like, you know, I don't get what people are so upset these days. I can barely get that out. Like, no, I've said this many. It was basically my whole reason for wanting to get on with some people in the first place with those guys. Was I was like, you know, not everybody's racist.
Yeah.
Not everybody's bigoted. Some of us just don't either get the words or give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what it is. We just don't want to necessarily participate, but we still want to talk about things that we think are fun and hang out with our buddies.
Well, it's part of our culture too. Everything's so again salacious and grandiose, and you know, just going for if it bleeds, it leads. When I was in England with the wife, there was that teenager that got murdered in the park.
Oh,
and,
yeah, that's horrible.
The way they reported
I think
go ahead.
When those I was going to say, I think yes, sorry, I didn't mean to derail that. Please talk about the reporting of it. I apologize.
Well, no, you think what? It's fine.
It was just a really weird tangent, but I was just going to say, actually, the episode where they were like really kind of covering the coverage of it was the one that Patrick was.
That's how I know about it.
Patrick watched like the Fandom Initiative's coverage of it. I just realized that's a weird
episode.
tangent. I didn't need to.
I wasn't there.
Yeah,
so, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I was away in England, being peaceful. They said 15-year-old teenager murdered, stabbed in a park by two people from her school. And they said the motive was that the girl was trans. In America, that wouldn't have been worded that way. That would have been trans girl murdered because trying to shove trans agenda down everybody's throats. And we all react and go to our respective corners and get mad. So it was just so odd to see news about something so horrible delivered and like with such respect and dignity. I was just like, the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, I remember you kind of making that point on like that next episode that you were back. We have a couple of clips from there because it was kind of talking about Patrick's banning and why he's not allowed back on and stuff. But yeah, I remember watching that episode and kind of your points on the coverage, how it very much differed from the kind of coverage we have here, which is really kind of a shame.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do wish everything wasn't so sensationalized or othering, I guess. It seems like they're trying to get that whole, I don't know what you would call it, controversy. You know, like
clicks
you said,
or
if it bleeds,
whatever we can get. I mean, shit, when Trump was running, how many times did they just show a pedestal? And it was just like, guys, really? You could be reporting news right now. There's an empty microphone. You're just focused on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think there's a lot to be desired with coverage of news events.
Yeah, again, I'm not claiming one side or the other. It's just this country's just way too extreme, just way too extreme.
I honestly can't even fucking imagine being single now. It used to just be like, you know, you have just like basic like compatibility issues. Now it's like, what do you think about abortion? You know, like how do you feel about the LGBT? Like
which team are you on?
Did you vote Trump? No.
Yeah.
Me? No. Like there's so many layers.
Yeah.
Like you could be dating somebody for like 6 months, fucking great relationship, and all of a sudden it's like,
yeah.
boom,
Yeah, one thing that's it. Right,
That's
you
it.
are.
That makes your entire being one thing.
Yeah,
and that's it. You're done.
and that's insanity. That's absolute insanity.
Yeah.
We
And
can.
it's so
Well,
easy to do. We did it with you.
Sure.
yeah, we
Likewise.
were falling into
Likewise.
it, and we want to thank you for not completely writing us off. We did not do that same courtesy that you gave us. We did not actually
No.
go and watch a lot of your content, see the humanity there, and then reach out to you. That's
In my
awesome
in
that
my
you did that
defense,
with
I've
us.
tried to reach out several times in several different ways and several occasions.
Yeah,
you
that's a
know,
tragedy.
not several, like two maybe,
That-
but still, two's plenty. Too many.
The way that was handled is disgusting. I'll be honest and say that. That
question,
the way that
question thing.
the bridge that could have been
I
was
know.
handled was quite disgusting, and there's a reason I like divorced myself from that group, because it's not what it started to be. That's for certain. Shit, I was gonna say something.
You're saying I'm
somewhat
extremely good looking, personable, and you're really glad you're getting to know me.
It was wow. That hairline's even better in this light. Way to go, Patrick.
Shit.
The silver fox.
I had a good thing. I think wasn't that good. I guess.
Well, it'll come to you if it was, that good. But but the whole it was extremely disappointing to your point that like, here you had this group, the ambassadors, not the gatekeepers, and they're out there shouting from the rooftops, man, I wish somebody would just understand, man, I wish somebody would just have some tolerance. And then I was like, I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
Let me give it to you. Like
Yeah.
I have it all, and I want to get more, and I want other people to see it, because, just like you reaching out to us, there's something to be said when somebody does take that first step and say like, okay, like let's, and you take that step, and then somebody else does, and then somebody else from our side does, and then it may ripple down. Some asshole may watch this video a year from now and be like, oh, wait a sec, I'm thinking about Joe Schmo this way, and I shouldn't have. It's just a matter of like, we got to stop making assumptions about each other, having more conversations. Like, I think so much, instead we're just shouting past each other every fucking day, these groups.
Yeah.
And that was I said that in my DMs to Eric, that like, we're just yelling past each other. It's crazy. And he totally agreed. He was like, yeah, he's like, debates are bullshit unless we're really debating some massive fucking thing where, like what's better, Star Wars or Star Trek, or
bullshit.
some political issue.
Sure.
Bullshit.
The things that matter.
Yeah.
But we're not debating good faith, bad faith. Like, it's all fucking ridiculous. It's just a bunch of people talking.
I could understand debating if there was some sort of, okay, you're right here, or like red, blue, if there's some sort of purple that is
sure.
come
like
to
you have a valid point, he has a valid point,
right?
Duke it out.
Yeah, here's the results of what we just did, instead of, oh, here's a clip of when I owned that day, and the other side has the same fucking thing. Here's a clip when I lost the debate. And it's like, everybody won. What is going on here? What is debating?
Yeah.
We're all winners when we participate.
I think we kind of
maybe it's just my apathy or what, or maybe it's the fact that I recognize jabs and humor and things, and like I recognized the bit, the ranking,
thing.
and I was like, you know what, this would be a hell of a lot more fun if everybody were in on a joke. Like,
for sure.
We should be laughing at each other. It's okay. It really is okay. And to say things like, you shouldn't be asking questions or mocking something like that, that's absurd. You're not going to get progress that way. If people ask questions and you mock them for that, then what the fuck do you expect? I'm
you know what's really funny about that whole thing with him mocking the questions is, at one point it's the first question and he says, I don't want to, whatever, but in the first question he goes, if you don't see anything bad faith with this question, you think it's a genuine question, you're fucking stupid, but press 1 in the comments and let me know if you did. No judgment at all. I won't judge you. I promise. Just identify yourselves as the people who think this would be okay.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
Just need to know
dude,
who
you're
to block.
making a whole fucking stream about somebody asking questions and mocking them and calling them this, that. Who the fuck is going to stick their neck out with a good faith question in that scenario? Not me.
It's very Pink Floyd, The Wall.
It's
The
like
mo-
crazy.
It's yeah. Do we have any queers in the audience?
Yeah.
All right.
It's like go get me something to beat you with. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah, exactly. I'm not familiar with good faith or bad faith, but that has to be lean towards bad faith.
Apparently, no. We were the bad faith ones,
Yes.
and the questions that Patrick wrote from the Safe Space Kit from, I can't remember the exact website, but
it's like
that
GLAN.
belongs in a bad faith textbook. So
Uh,
I don't know.
And you dropped a
apparently, we
great
were wrong
line in
on
there,
that.
Patrick, too. Listen, my wife dug it. So a member of the
God, what'd I say?
LGBTQ plus, you said you have a membership to LGBTQ plus, and I was like, oh, I have a great tag for that. You should have said, but it still gets the commercials. Because you made a reference as if it were like a streaming service, because everything's plus.
Oh yeah, okay, now I remember.
You had a
That is
great
awesome.
reference where it's like, oh, I got a tag for that. Just say, but I still get the commercials.
Mhm.
Just doing punch up on Patrick's little joke.
Yeah, it's on auto renew.
I still get charged. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm still paying for that
Still
one.
getting charged $19.99 a month.
Auto renew. PayPal, stop giving them that money.
Yeah. LGBTQ plus streaming in 4K. Can't beat it.
I didn't want the premium.
Yeah, I didn't need the premium. I wanted it.
But yeah, like this is fun. Like we're laughing at things. This is
Yeah.
fun. Like why would we choose to like point and be angry about shit? Why is that the default and the thing that pays on YouTube? Like what, or anywhere, social media, I mean, it's like George Carlin says, they talk about the homeless. They never house the homeless because there's no money in it.
Yeah.
And it's sad but true. I mean, George Carlin transcends the art. I'm just going to keep going back to him every 15 minutes.
Back to the well.
We keep doing it too. He has a lot to go from. That well is deep, if you will.
Well, Patrick, you know what? If Gray, if you don't mind, Patrick said something about George Carlin and how he would act today, and I was curious to have a discussion about that. You feel that he would be kind of reactionary to?
I do. I feel, and I probably don't. I'm probably not up on my Carlin as much as I should be for this conversation.
Well, he's dead, so
yeah. No wonder he's not answering my calls.
Fucking.
Oh.
Been writing the guy's letters, calling him every day. Family's pissed at me now.
You're not supposed to ask questions. I heard that somewhere.
I don't know. I just get it should have just asked somebody. But no, I think that he would not necessarily. I'm not trying to say, because it's this weird thin line, because it's one or the other. It's like, oh, he's all in or he's all out. And I don't think he would have been. I think he would have looked at, a lot of the like the terminology in the LGBTQ plus community and the constant growing changing of terms, and everybody's expected to adapt immediately. I always hear people say things like, oh, well, it's language. It's language, like language has changed. Language evolves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does. But it's not like it's like, 1989, here comes 1990. And, boom, like we stopped saying F slurs. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like it's a gradual progression. So I think that if Carlin was alive today and he was watching all this fighting back and forth and the culture wars, I think he would just be like, what the fuck? Like, there's no way that Carlin would sit and honestly be able to be like, meow, meow, self is a thing. You know what I mean? Or like, imagine Carlin discussing furries, like what he would think of this as a concept, or even like, and I'm not poking at anybody. If you want to use pronouns, use whatever you want. I respect pronouns. I don't give a fuck. Like, as long as if I don't make it right all the time, then give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
But I think he would be like, and I joked about it before, like, like, why do I need to know my mechanic's pronouns. Can you fix a car? You know, like he would be like, he wouldn't give a fuck, or he would go further than not giving a fuck. And I feel like he would be like, this is fucking disturbed.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Well, you should.
He was certainly anti-establishment, and he did progress throughout his career. He was like if you watch the documentary on HBO, like he was a straight-laced fucking whatever in the 50s and 60s and hated it. And once he grew his hair out and got his beard, he was like, that's when I started being myself. And he kept evolving. And there was a period where he got mocked in the 80s because he was behind, and he was yesterday's news, like the bit that they use in the documentary is him talking about peas, give peas a chance. And like he said, that was his low point in the early 80s. And he constantly would reset and progress himself. So I would assume somewhere between, because he was very political, especially at what I would consider his peak, the late 80s, early 90s. Very, very political. I think he would have, well, he hated Bush and he hated everything about that Iraq war. I think the Sarah Palin thing would have been some sort of twist on his perspective, because she was fucking nuttier than
squirrel shit.
Yeah. So there would have been something there, I would have imagined, but I don't know. Like, you have stuff like 2016 on both sides was fucking crazy. So, like, if you talk about society and what pop culture is, you have to put a line right down 2016 and say, this is where shit got really fucking weird. And
to be kind of the centerist here or whatever, I see kind of both sides of this argument, because like he did have that whole argument where he was defending Andrew Dice Clay, but saying, he should not punch down. And I view what he's doing as punching down. He has every right to do it. It's not something I would do. So I don't know that he would necessarily like join in that thing. But at the same time, he is talking about like soft language and everything. Like, would he enjoy this kind of, as some people have put it, like the nerfing of language and concepts? And I don't know. I'm just not sure where he'd fall on that. Like, you're right. Like 2016 seems to be a divide. And there's a lot of comedians that I thought would have, kind of stayed anti-establishment, and they became like super pro-establishment, which is odd to see. I don't know where I'd be.
I would argue the next best thing we have is Bill Burr, because Bill Burr is pretty fair.
The GOAT. I think I called out when there was another comedian that was referenced, and I was like, Ricky Gervais. I was like, listen to Gervais, but Bill Burr, the GOAT, man. He's awesome.
He's rather fair. His Red Rock special, when he was talking about the virus, just had, and it was a very Carlinian bit where you have people that are for masks and people who are against the masks, and the people who are for the masks are armed, but they can't shoot because they're anti-Second Amendment, and the guys who are for the mask have to run across a field and not get shot. And it felt like something Carlin would have done. And it was pretty fair. Like, he made fun of both sides. It was a solid bit. Bill Burr's the next best thing. I don't know. It's so hard to figure out, because if you watch Carlin's material, every 15 years or so, he kind of evolved to something else.
Yeah.
So we would have had some sort of different aggressive version of George Carlin now. So it's really
wish
hard.
we would have got to see that. But I don't know what it would have been, but I would have loved to see his take on this, because kind of unprecedented. I would have liked to see that take on it. I know it would have been different than I'm thinking.
And again, with him being so anti-establishment, it would have been, kind of whichever way you really can interpret who is the establishment now, because it's really, it's really split right down the fucking middle at this point.
What would
in fact, I think it's a little bit more like the quote unquote, I'm not saying my side or the other side, but quote unquote, the left side, I feel like has a bit more sway over the right at this point.
Well, I think statistically speaking, the country's 60% leans progressive.
I think it's just like, like the media and the coverage. It feels like it's a little bit more progressive than, like what do you have, Fox News, and like then there's a couple of other.
But but I don't want to make it right or left or anything, but like how many like right leaning like news organizations are there, like big ones as compared to the left. So I think the establishment in his and again, I'm just kind of like guessing here. I don't really know because I don't know he's dead. But
his perspective was always a little different.
Sure.
So would he say, would he look at it something like that, like the news industry, and be like, well, the establishment is actually this other side who's telling everybody what to think, and that's why I always think like maybe he wouldn't have just gone along. There's this impression that he would have just been like, the Nazis, everyone's a Nazi now for some reason,
Well, what do you think his take would be on January 6th?
Oh, I don't know.
It's a good question.
I don't even know.
I'm assuming he wouldn't be pro it.
Well, I mean,
he's
had material.
It's just a messed up situation.
He's got that bit where he talks about 4 states, the 4 square states.
Mm-hmm.
You fence them up, and you put it on pay-per-view, and you have criminals in one, drug addicts in another. I forget the bit. Comedians can't do other comedians.
I know the one that you're talking about, but it's been a minute well for me.
There's a part of me that thinks that he would have been like, well, fuck, they should have got through and started a whole new thing, because this thing we got right now ain't working. So like, I don't know, performatively speaking, I think maybe he would have leaned into it. It's really difficult to figure out.
Yeah, exactly. I just wish we would have been able to see it, because it would have been an awesome point of view, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully it would have made us realize some of the, I don't know, ridiculousness of what at least one side is
What's
doing.
unfortunate?
I don't know. I really appreciate that.
What's unfortunate about George Carlin is people misuse stuff of his so many times, and it's just like, listen, he was a comedian, and he was a sweetheart. Like him away from the stage was so like he wasn't really for the end of civilization. He was like, I think his second wife said that he was trying to tell people this is where we're headed, while throwing a random fart joke in there, and they weren't listening. And
well, I can't appreciate you enough for kind of warning us where we were headed, because
changed my life.
We had kind of
you turned me straight.
You did, and you changed the direction. It was stuff that we were talking about. I'm not going to give you full credit for it, but it really made us like see kind of what road we were headed down, and that we were not so much different than the monsters we hunted to
and
butcher the Nietzsche
I apologize for gatekeeping somebody's persona. I can't say this enough, the amount of respect that I have for both of you. It takes a lot to say things to a camera. It takes a hell of a lot more to say, hey, I fucked up, and here I was wrong. And that you've got me.
And we were, and we did.
And I appreciate that. And that, in my book, that is the most admirable trait in a human being, is recognizing fault and owning it.
The own. He finally got the own.
Oh, he got the own.
It was the reverse Uno card.
Oh no, we weren't expecting it.
Was a reverse Uno card.
But yeah, I cannot express how much I have respect and admiration for you guys for that, because you did way more than was even necessary.
It's mutual. Same with you. We really respect your stream and you going through like some of those comments and realizing that hey, maybe this isn't what I had anticipated. Just again, it's everything that you just said right back at you. That's so much respect. It was really big of you. You did it first, so we owe it to you. We were just copying your
I didn't do it first,
example.
though. That's the tragic part.
I did.
Well, okay. We all look up to Patrick, and we are better for having him in our lives.
It was big.
Yeah, hopefully I'm not the only one. Is the best optimistic thing I can say. Maybe
that's the idea. Just everybody like.
And that's what we were trying to preach.
Everybody stop. There's no reason for us to be doing all this silliness. We could all
Yeah.
conversations.
Identity politics don't have to be a bad
No.
thing. In one of our first episodes, we mentioned Polly Murray, who, she used a different kind of identity politics. It was the common humanity. So you can still recognize people's differences, but, if they try and exclude you, she would draw a bigger circle to include them. And I think we kind of failed to do that recently. So thank you for helping us stick back to our original goal. And we just really appreciate it.
Thank you for.
If people want to check more of your stuff out, is there anything you got coming up or anything you want to shout out?
I try to focus on movies and stuff. I have things where I've been like my weekend show is just anything happens. It's just called Weekend Live, where like really it's carte blanche, and every now and again somebody will drop a super chat and they're driving the conversation because they paid for it. More often than not, I'm doing like, fiction content. I have done I reacted to Big Joel's take on Ricky Gervais, where I strongly disagree.
That was an interesting take. I'd be interested in seeing your take on the take.
That's on my members thing, but I'll remind me. I'll send you the clip. I don't agree with a lot of what was going on in that video. So I might be doing a bit more comedy related material, but
Nice.
I've got a Lost video coming up, Patrick. The 5 most the 5.
You better not be saying anything negative about it, because if it's like the 5 worst things about it, he's coming at you. I'm just saying, I got warned. I can mock Captain Marvel and I can mock She-Hulk, but I got to stay away.
We
from
have
Lost
to go back.
I could drive to your house in an hour and 15 minutes. Charles.
Yeah.
So he knows to stay on the right track
dude,
here.
That's what I'm saying. Keep me on speed dial. We might do a 3-hour stream on Lost, because shit. So the video is the 5 most tragic characters in my opinion.
Which
they're all tragic, basically.
Yeah, tragic though in the sense that they should have never been on the show in the first place, or tragic.
So
then it would be that one season where they brought the new characters.
What'd they kill him with, fucking spiders or something?
Yeah, what a weird.
They were like, you know what? We're gonna introduce these 2 new characters. We want to liven up the show a little bit, and they realized like halfway into it, they're like, nah, fucking bury these motherfuckers right in the sand.
The worst thing was like they retroactively put them into like things from the first season, where it was like Anakin in the end of Return of the Jedi. It's just like, why are you doing this? Yeah. Why do they have speaking parts from 2 seasons ago?
And I'll just say this too about Lost, and maybe this was lost on you, Gray, but Lost was the kind of show where every fucking episode you would watch it again almost right after, because you were looking to pick up all these little fucking subtle hints. They were crazy. They would I'd be like, oh my God, was that the symbol for the fucking airplane in that goddamn cave? And you'd watch it and you'd like zoom in. This is like, when internet wasn't even like that internety. And like there was
I remember the whole
number.
Pre-internet time.
You could call the Dharma Initiative. Is it Dharma, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And this is Dr. Chow, and we are, we're doing an experiment on time travel. And like there was a full thing behind it. So my point was to take 2 new characters and try to jam them in the back there. Like we wouldn't have noticed these fucking people.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that.
Whoa, I mean, the regulars cost money now. We got to bring in some fresh meat.
Yeah, that was during the strike, I think, too. Like they were just like, we don't know what we're doing. So here, new people, Billy D. Williams for reasons.
Well, I know Patrick's looking forward to your Lost video. I'm definitely going to be watching that as well. Perhaps you will give me a new appreciation for it. I don't know. It was just the beards that kind of took me out of it. But I didn't hate the show. I watched it in real time. The beards.
What?
Like they kept putting Matthew Fox in like the worst beard ever. It just looked so fake. It was
you mean in the last season?
Okay, you just taped the carpet to his face.
You could see like it.
I know somebody who's got a.
You could see,
I know somebody who's got a beard that looks like that. It looks like a big red pubic garb. Fucking shave it off.
I have no idea what you're speaking.
Nah, it was somebody from that show.
It was
Hugo. It was
that
Hugo.
one show.
You see that, and that's the thing that like that we not to kind of go back to what we were talking about, but that's the thing that like we get so or whatever drives the algorithm. That it turns out that guy who wore the fake beard in Lost, he was gay. It turned out that he was a gay character in Lost, and nobody made a big deal. If it came out today and he was, revealed as gay, it would be agenda. And
Yeah.
like it they didn't that was it. He was just gay, he had a boyfriend, he lived with a man. That was it. That's it. And
It ruined the whole show for Gray.
Well, now I can't watch this. No, I mean, like, I have an appreciation for the show. What killed me was just the twist at the end. It was like, oh, so it's what everybody theorized all along, and you kept denying.
No, you
I
keep saying
I think
that.
that just soured
you
me
keep
to it.
saying that, and I don't think you understood the ending.
I
of
am
the
saying
series.
it, and
You keep
I
saying
did,
that, but it's
but,
not what everybody thought. What do
it
you
was
think
that
it was?
mystery.
You get me
I
upset.
think it was literally that.
What?
Okay, so we'll go into a full Lost spoiler. I mean, I know it's been like
Yeah, come on.
30
If you
years
don't know the
or
end of the
20 something
fucking show,
years,
it's
but
your-
there's
your
kids watching that were born after that show aired.
Yeah.
Okay, one day we will have a spirited discussion on Lost. I have
Fine, but
feels,
just give me
but
what you
I
think.
definitely was a fan.
Just give me what you think the ending was. I don't care if it spoils it for people.
Well, essentially, they were kind of trapped in an in-between, like a purgatory for the duration of the thing. That was essentially what the internet theory was back in the day.
Yeah, but that's
and then
not what
J.J.
the
Abrams
but
kept
that's
saying,
not
like,
what the end
no.
was.
That's what the second half
So
of
that's
season
a
6
portion
was.
of it.
Season 6
Yeah.
kinda like the
So
Yeah.
I understand there was the whole like wheel and everything that was going on the island and everything like that, but that was all kind of secondary to what was actually happening. Like so they go back at the end and it's all happening like in moments after that like plane crash or whatever. Or did you interpret that as slightly different?
No, it's like
I only watched it once and it was like when it first came out. So I viewed that as that fan theory. So if you have a different interpretation, I'm
all
totally
right. We
open
should
to it.
maybe we should hold it because you're definitely wrong.
Okay.
I'm all amped up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm open to that theory
It's
that
a-
I am
it's
wrong.
a- it's a- it's a
Again, I
three-way
watched it
date.
once and was like, oh god damn it.
I'm
Okay.
down. I'm down.
Okay. I'm really interested in this
Menage
because honestly, it was years, man. But that's so awesome. Okay. So teaser that might happen in the near future. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us
Yeah,
today,
thanks,
Charles.
Thanks for
I
having
think
me.
this has been awesome, and hopefully it's some sort of hopefully it affects others the way that it affected us. But if not, this was awesome.
Yeah, and like you just witnessed, again, it was just about fiction, but you can
Mhm.
disagree with somebody and still have a conversation and be friends with that person and carry a relationship with somebody. One thing that you don't agree on, or a couple of things, whatever, it doesn't change everything. Like if like Patrick was talking about going on a date, you're going for 6 months and then suddenly, oh wait, you have a red cap? Fuck this, I'm out. That shouldn't change anything. Like it's
You-
okay to disagree.
You'd hope not.
It's really
Mhm.
okay to disagree.
Yeah.
Like eh,
And if we were all exactly the same
oh
people,
man.
then you'd all be me, and you'd all be
Oh,
good
so
looking and
boring.
charismatic, and nobody
Well,
would
I
have
guess it
any
would be boring
problems.
if we were all you. I just assumed if everyone was me, nothing but problems. It's really boring.
But the amount of mousse and hairspray we would go through in this
Hair gel,
we
man.
put that
It
hole
goes
right
to the
back
brain.
in the
What can you
ozone
say?
layer.
First off, I'm a pomade
It's a
man.
product.
Okay,
Product.
these
I
dirty
know.
lies need to stop.
I know.
Okay.
No
There's
Aquanet
hope.
could ever hold that.
Alright.
There's hope is I guess the gist of what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be your side, my side. It can be a blend.
Yeah, and
Well, we appreciate you for kind of showing us that again because we lost sight of that, and we definitely started getting to that tribalism thing, even though we were trying to explain it in certain episodes. So yeah, sometimes you just need that step back, and I think you really helped us do that.
I appreciate you listening because like it's just I don't know if somebody can correct me and prove me wrong. I don't think there's any mental health redeeming qualities to any of that. I'm certainly open to hear contrary. I mean, sure, if you're playing the algorithm game, you're probably doing okay in the bank account, but I don't know as far as mental health is concerned how that is beneficial going down that.
no, it
road.
feels good. It feels good, but we all
Does
know what
it?
feels
In the moment.
In the moment, sure. Like burning somebody when you feel justified in the moment, it feels fucking good. But in the
Mhm.
long run, it's poison. Just like the booze, the booze felt great when I was pouring it down my throat, but the long term result of doing that just fucking ruined me. And it's the same kind of thing with this poison talk, It feels good ripping it out every once in a while.
Yeah, but the booze, that's triggering your endorphins. I think what you're doing on the booze, ripping
Yeah,
somebody
maybe.
out. It, I don't know. It's an interesting take.
No, you know what I'm saying. Like when you're on, like, say, a stream
Sure.
like this, if we all decided to really like go in on certain people, we'd all be laughing and having a good time, and it would feel really good. We'd be like, it's hysterical. Some people would watch it, and probably be like, that's really funny.
Yeah.
But really, what is it doing? It's like, all right, let's just be dicks all the time. Like there's a lot of. I'm just saying, there's a lot better things we could be laughing and having a good time about, just like you're saying.
I just view things as, we shouldn't take everything so seriously. We should be able to laugh at ourselves, and if
sure.
we would, who knows how far we could go.
That's true. It would be awesome if we all could just laugh. I think that's something that's really needed in times like this, and it can be cathartic. It's awesome.
We're running a three-man ticket for 2024.
It's beautiful.
Co-president and vice president. I don't know.
Yeah. Co-pimp.
Well, that's awesome, man. Oh, okay. Top pitch? No, bottom. I don't know. Whatever the ranking is under that, I don't know.
I'm just glad to be here.
Cool. Yeah. So,
I like to watch.
So I was going to end the recording there, unless there's anything else you were wanting to say, or anything you think we should add, or anything like that.
No, I think this should be the first step of progress. Is what I think. Genuinely, as much as I've made a mockery of everything else, there can be common ground, and I really think there should be more in the future.